Chapter 2134. At the same time, in the seven continents. The moment Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao appeared, they were discovered by the sharp-eyed Jun family members. Immediately, the Jun family servants scrambled to the Jun family to inform them. In an instant, the entire Jun family was in an uproar. Under Jun Lintian's lead, a group of people walked out. From afar, they saw a handsome man and a beautiful woman under the sun. The man was dressed in black and had a cold expression. Only when he looked at the woman next to him would he occasionally reveal a gentle gaze. He held a swaddle in his arms. The baby in the swaddle giggled from time to time. His delicate face was filled with a cute smile, and his big bright eyes were very clear. Yun Luofeng stood beside Yun Xiao. Her white clothes fluttered in the wind, and she was as beautiful as a celestial being in a painting. She was holding a little girl who was about 4 or 5 years old. This scene looked like a family of 4. It was so beautiful that no one could bear to destroy it. "Fenger, you're finally back." Old Master Yun laughed out loud and quickly walked towards his granddaughter. When he saw the little baby in Yun Zhao's arms, his eyes lit up. "This is my great-grandson? Good boy. Let great-grandfather hug you." Little Yunfeng was not afraid of strangers. When he saw the old master's hand, he giggled and even opened his arms for a hug. Bai Ling and Jun Fengling walked over together, leaving Yi Jingxun behind with a face full of resentment. He looked at Bai Ling, who had seduced his wife, and felt very wronged. Ever since Bai Ling and Jun Fengling got to know each other, the in-laws had a feeling of regret for not getting to know each other earlier. As the daughter-in-law of the general's residence, Bai Ling was naturally attracted by Jun Fengling's valiant aura. Thus, the two of them were like sisters now. Even Yi Jingxun had to step aside. "Fenger, this little girl is..." Bai Ling looked at the little girl in Yun Luofeng's arms and asked curiously. Yun Shutian hid behind Yun Luofeng in fear. He looked at the strangers in front of him with a pair of timid eyes. He looked very timid. "Tianer, don't be afraid. These are my family." Yun Luofeng could feel Yun Shutian's fear. She patted her little hand and comforted her. "Mother, she's Yun Shutian. She's also my goddaughter. This little girl is cute and obedient. She's very likable." Jun Fengling chuckled. Perhaps she was afraid of scaring the little girl, so her voice became very gentle. "Little Tian, I'm your grandmother. Be good and bring her to me." Yun Shutian blinked and turned to look at Yun Luofeng, as if asking for her opinion. When she saw Yun Luofeng nod at her, she carefully left from behind Yun Luofeng and walked towards Bai Ling and Jun Fengling. She called out obediently, "Grandmother, good girl." Jun Fengling's eyes curved into crescents as she smiled. The word grandmother had really melted her bones. "Little Tian I'm your maternal grandmother." Bai Ling also waved at Yun Shutian. "Come here and let grandma see you." Yun Shutian blinked again and obediently walked toward Bai Ling. Her voice was soft, tender, and adorable. "Grandmother, Bai Ling was very happy. Not only did Yun Luofeng bring back her own grandson, but she also adopted such a cute and obedient little girl. "Little Yun, did you name the child?" Jun Lintian had already arrived in front of Yun Luofeng. His smile was very bright, and his eyes were full of joy. Chapter 2135. Yun Yinfeng. At the mention of her son's name, Yun Luofeng's gaze softened. Her gaze fell on the infant in the swaddling clothes, and her eyes shone with motherly love. "Yun Yinfeng." Jun Lintian laughed. "It's indeed a good name. Yun Yinfeng. Wasn't that the meaning of Yun Zhao's yearning for Yun Luofeng? TSK. This young couple's relationship is so good that it makes others envious. Grandfather." Yun Luofeng's gaze turned towards old man Yun. "While I was away, did something happen in the 7 continents?" Old Master Yun was startled. He glanced at Yun Luofeng and then told her about the recent happenings in the 7 continents. When she heard that the experts of the Spirit God continent had come to the 7 continents to carry out a massacre, her expression immediately turned cold. Killing intent surged from her body. However, when old Master Yun told her about Hong Wan's return, a look of surprise appeared on her face, followed by boundless joy and excitement. "Hong Wan has really returned from the netherworld? That's right, but Hong Luan has returned to East Continent Prefecture to attend to some matters, so she's not here. At this moment, Yin Luofeng's heart was filled with mixed feelings. That day, when she heard about Hong Luan's death, the rage in her heart was enough to burn the entire world. Who would have thought that Hong Luan would return? Hong Luan's corpse is still with me, and it has been preserved very well. With his corpse here, resurrecting Hong Luan will not be a problem. However, Yin Luofeng turned to Jun Lintian. Grandpa Jun, I'll have to trouble you to summon those from the Holy Maiden tribe and the Witch tribe back. The Spirit God continent has gone too far. Yin Luofeng, will not let them off so easily. If Yin Xingya hadn't broken through to Divine Lord, if Hong Luan and Jun Fengling had not returned, she did not dare to imagine what she would see when she arrived at Ling Continent. Fortunately, he had informed Speechless to seek help from the Dragon Clan, no matter what happened. Because of this, the Jun family didn't suffer any casualties, of course. There were no casualties among those who came to the Ling Continent. However, the rest of the continent suffered heavy casualties. All right, Jun Lintian nodded solemnly. Now that Yin Luofeng had returned, it was time for them to exact their revenge on the Spirit God continent. Within a few days, the news of Yin Luofeng's return spread throughout the 7 continents. Those forces that were on good terms with Yin Luofeng rushed over, intending to contribute to the invasion of the Spirit God continent. Hong Luan and Yin Luofeng met again. Their expressions were somewhat sad. In the end, Yin Luofeng took 2 steps forward and gently hugged Hong Luan. Welcome back. Hong Luan's lips curled into an enchanting smile. I've spent my entire life chasing after your footsteps. Before I catch up to you, how could I possibly die? Hong Luan. Yin Luofeng released the woman in his arms and smiled. When I missed Feng, you weren't here. Now that the child has been born, why don't you become his godmother? I couldn't ask for more. Hong Luan hugged Yin Luofeng back, and the two looked at each other and smiled. Actually, Yin Luofeng's eyes flashed, and he suddenly said, Nangong Yuni isn't a bad person. Why don't you consider her? My Yinfeng can't only have a godmother without a godfather. Hong Luan's face flashed with embarrassment. Then, the man's handsome face appeared in her mind, and she gently pursed her lips. That depends on his performance. Chapter 2136. It was not that easy to become her husband. Yin Luofeng smiled and spoke to a nearby corner. Nangong, did you hear that? You have to perform well and become Yinfeng's godfather as soon as possible. Hong Luan's expression stiffened, and she followed Yin Luofeng's gaze. Only then did she see a handsome figure walk out from the corner. Instantly, a crimson blush flashed across her beautiful face. Luan I will perform well. Nangong Yuni's eyes shone brightly. I will strive to be promoted as soon as possible. Hong Luan angrily kicked Nangong Yuni's, but what do you mean by promoted? Do you even know how to speak? Nangong Yuni felt wronged. He rubbed his sore butt and said pitifully, I didn't say anything wrong. I want to be promoted as soon as possible and become Yinfeng's godfather. Hong Luan glared fiercely at Nangong Yuni. Dream on. After saying this, she turned around and walked forward. However, she could not help but caress her burning cheeks. Her footsteps were hurried, as if she was afraid of being discovered. It seems that your hard work has paid off. Yin Luofeng walked to Nangong Yuni's side and patted his shoulder. No matter what, I will support you. I also believe that you can bring happiness to Hong Luan. But suddenly, Yin Luofeng's tone turned serious, and he said solemnly, I will say the ugly things first. Although you are my old friend from 2 lives, if you dare to harm Hong Luan, I will not let you off. She has always been the one to bully me. Well, have I ever bullied her? Nangong Yuni pursed his lips. Even when Hong Luan bullied him, he had always been willing to endure it. Yin Luofeng smiled. After this battle is over, the 2 of you can have a good chat. I believe that Hong Luan has feelings for you. Nangong Yuni nodded solemnly. He thought of the upcoming battle and asked, Do you have confidence in this battle? No, but I must fight. Yin Luofeng raised his head slightly. I will not let anyone bully me and get away scot-free. Nangong Yuni's mood was very heavy. He fell silent for a while before looking at Yin Luofeng again. If you want to fight, I will risk my life to accompany you. Wanner will definitely do the same. In this life, he only had one lover and one friend. For these two people, he would go through fire and water without hesitation. Yin Luofeng didn't say anything else. She patted Nan Gongyuni's shoulder and said, "Go find Hong Wan. Bring Hong Wan here tonight. I want to help her completely revive." Nan Gongyuni did not say anything else. He turned around and chased after Hong Wan. Not long after, he saw Hong Wan waiting for him not too far away. Looking at the peerless woman in front of him, Nan Gongyuni didn't know what to say for a moment. "Actually, when I first found out that you were Yin Luofeng's friend, I had already forgiven you." Hong Wan glanced at Nan Gongyuni and continued, "I believe in Yin Luofeng's judgment. Naturally, I would not suspect anyone by her side." Hong Wan had absolute trust in Nan Gongyuni. Even though Nan Gongyuni was only her friend, she understood that what had happened that day was just a misunderstanding. "Nan Gongyuni, you probably know that since I'm friends with Yin Luofeng, our personalities are definitely similar. So, I definitely can't tolerate my man having other women. Can you do that?" Chapter 21:37. "Wanner, don't worry. I won't do anything to let you down." Nan Gongyuni thought that Hong Wan did not believe him and quickly swore. The corners of Hong Wan's lips curled up. "Good. I've already received your guarantee. I'm relieved. As for whether I can accept you or not, I still need to understand more." Perhaps it was her experiences since young that made her protect herself. She had not accepted Nan Gongyuni for so long because she was afraid of being hurt again. Before she was sure that he would not hurt her, she would not allow herself to accept him completely. Nan Gongyuni's eyes were filled with joy. "I'll let you understand me however you want to understand me. Wanner, from the moment I saw you, I knew that you were the woman I wanted in this life. No matter how long it takes, I'm willing to follow behind you. As long as you don't give up, I won't leave you." Hong Wan raised her brows and glanced at Nan Gongyuni once more before turning to walk out of the yard. Very soon, a figure appeared before Nan Gongyuni's eyes. Nan Gongyuni was so excited that he almost jumped up. He had never thought that Hong Wan would say something like this to him. Did this mean that she was slowly accepting him in her heart? "Wanner, I won't let you down in this lifetime. I must perform well and strive to be promoted as soon as possible." Hong Wan's resurrection was simple. Yin Luofeng had prepared the medicinal herbs beforehand and placed her corpse in the medicinal herbs. When Hong Wan appeared at night, she could be resurrected immediately. Of course, when Hong Wan was resurrected, Yin Luofeng also asked her about her deceased father. In fact, Hong Wan knew Yin Luofeng's family very well. She had looked for Yun Yang's whereabouts after entering the underworld, but he did not exist in the entire underworld. When he heard the news, Yin Luofeng's hand paused, and he sighed helplessly. Yin Yang was no longer in the underworld, which meant that he had completely disappeared. Bai Ling would not be able to handle this news, so Yin Luofeng had asked Hong Wan not to let Bai Ling know. Fortunately, Hong Wan knew this as well. Therefore, when Bai Ling had asked her that day, she had only brushed it off and did not pay attention. "Hong Wan, it's about time." After a while, Yin Luofeng slowly stood up. "Get up and move around a bit. See if you can adapt to your body." Hearing this, Hong Wan crawled out of the medicinal tub. She moved her shoulders a little and said, "Not really used to it. I'm used to the feeling of my soul floating. I really can't get used to this body." "You'll be fine if you move around a little more." Yin Luofeng looked at Hong Wan and said with a smile, "As long as it doesn't affect your powers, it proves that this resurrection was a success." After speaking, Hong Wan gently closed her eyes. After sensing the powerful energy in her body, she opened her eyes and a sense of shock flashed across her eyes. "My current strength is actually the same as when I used my soul body." "That's right." Yin Luofeng raised the corner of his lips and said with a faint smile, "I added a spirit herb into the bathtub. It will allow your soul and body to completely merge. Your previous strength will not disappear." Hong Wan was overjoyed. What she was most afraid of was that the power she had obtained after experiencing countless life and death situations in the netherworld would disappear after a resurrection. Now that she saw that her power was still there, she was completely relieved. Chapter 21:38. Phone. At this moment, Yin Xingya's voice came from outside the door. Someone from the Ancestral Dragon Clan is here. He said he wants to see you. Ancestral Dragon Clan? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows. All right, have it wait in the hall. I'll be there shortly. At this moment, in the hall, a young man dressed in green robes was anxiously pacing back and forth. His eyes were filled with anxiety. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiao, who were walking towards him under the moonlight. A light flashed through his eyes. This lady is most likely Lady Yun. Yin Luofeng's gaze fell on the azure-robed man. You came all the way from the spirit god continent. What business do you have with me? It's like this. The green-robed man's face was a little pale. You Tion and a few other old fellows have attacked our ancestral dragon clan and imprisoned our clan leader. He said that he wants Miss Yun to see him, otherwise he will kill our clan leader. The people of the ancestral dragon clan had always been honest, so they naturally wouldn't lie to Yin Luofeng. Instead, they spoke the truth. As for Yin Luofeng's choice, that was her own business. Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiao looked at each other, neither of them saying anything. After a long while, she finally turned her gaze towards the green-robed man, her expression slowly darkening. I understand. Yu Tion couldn't come to the Seven Continents continent to deal with me, so he used the Ancestral Dragon Clan to force me out. However, even if he didn't use the Ancestral Dragon Clan as a threat, I still plan to go to the Spirit God continent to settle the score with him. She narrowed her eyes, and a cold glint flashed across her eyes. Go back to the Ancestral Dragon Clan first. I'll come over after making some preparations. Thank you, Miss Yun. The green-robed man's expression was filled with gratitude. He cupped his fists and walked towards the door. Long Luo had been by Yin Luofeng's side ever since she got to know him. Now, she, who was playing around with the little worm in the divine grimoire space, also heard the commotion outside and immediately appeared before Yin Luofeng. Her face was filled with anxiety. Before she could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by Yin Luofeng. You don't have to worry. Since the Ancestral Dragon Clan has sent people to help the Jun family, I will definitely not sit idly by. We'll prepare tonight and set off tomorrow. Yin Luofeng comforted Long Luo. Then, he ordered everyone to gather at the Jun residence the next morning. After she gave her instructions, she went down to rest with Yin Xiao. Night fell. The moonlight was like water. The door to the room was pushed open by a small hand. Yin Luofeng, who was about to take off her clothes and sleep with Yin Xiao, immediately turned her head to look. Under the cold moonlight, she saw a little lowly who looked like she was carved out of jade walking towards her. Tianer, what is it? Yin Luofeng got up from the bed and walked towards Yin Chutian. She bent down with a gentle expression and rubbed Yin Chutian's head. Mother. Yin Chutian hooked his arm around Yin Luofeng's neck, an innocent and bright smile on his little face. Tian, has something to give Mother. You'll definitely like it. After saying this, Yin Chutian tiptoed and planted a kiss on Yin Luofeng's forehead. Boom! At this moment, Yin Luofeng felt as if her head was being pricked by a needle. A powerful force directly rushed into her mind and filled her body with strength. After Yin Luofeng felt this force, she hurriedly sat down cross-legged. At the same time, lightning appeared above her head. Chapter 21:39. Boom, boom, boom. Intense thunder rumbled. Yin Luofeng had already released his azure wings while he was sitting down. He immediately leapt up and rushed above Yin Luofeng's head, blocking the rumbling thunder that came crashing down. This time, the heavenly lightning was fiercer than anyone else's breakthrough. This was also the first time everyone saw Yin Luofeng's breakthrough. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was the end of the world. The lightning tribulation lasted for an entire night before gradually fading away. The next day, when Yin Luofeng opened her eyes and felt the endless power in her body, she couldn't help but stand up and stretch her legs. She asked Tianer, how much of this power do you have left? Yin Chutian blinked and shook his head. No more. I've given it all to Mother. Mother, can you bring Tian to battle with you? Tian, can definitely help Mother. At this moment, Yin Xiao had already walked to Yin Luofeng's side. After hearing Yin Chutian's words, the two of them looked at each other. Mother. Yin Chutian was afraid that Yin Luofeng would reject him, so he hurriedly held her hand and said pitifully, although Tiana doesn't remember anything, Tiana won't be a burden to Mother. Yin Luofeng pondered for a moment. She originally wanted to reject Yin Chutian, but then she remembered that Yin Chutian was given to her by Zhu Qian, so he definitely wasn't simple. Thus, she gently nodded. All right, then let's go together. Yin Chutian smiled. Her smile was even brighter than the sun. She rushed into Yin Luofeng's arms and hugged her waist tightly. Mother Tianer likes you the most. Under the morning sun, Yin Chutian's little face was flushed. Her eyes were as bright as the stars in the night sky, shining with a dazzling radiance. Yin Luofeng lowered her head and looked at the petite and cute little girl in her arms. A smile also appeared on her face. If she could predict what would happen next, perhaps she would regret bringing this girl to the spirit god continent. Unfortunately, Yin Luofeng didn't know anything. Spirit god continent. The ancestral dragon clan. Below the dragon altar, the members of the ancestral dragon clan were all tied to the pillars. All of them glared at the attacking human cultivators with furious eyes. Utian and the other three stood at the very front of the humans and looked down at the group of furious dragons. Their lips curled into a mocking smile. You better pray for that woman, Yin Luofeng, to hurry over. Otherwise, your ancestral dragon clan will be completely annihilated. Utian smiled faintly. His white robes fluttered in the wind, and his sage-like appearance was hateful no matter how one looked at it. Long Yan's roar was filled with anger. Utian, Feng Yongqing, Kong Fengling, Wei Xiang, if you dare to kill our ancestral dragon clan, I, Long Yan, will not let you off even if I become a ghost. Become a ghost? Ha ha! Feng Yongqing laughed. That's if you have the chance to become a ghost. Just now, we had already prepared our soul fires. Once these flames appear, your souls will scatter, never to be reincarnated. Feng Yongqing gritted his teeth as he said the last few words. His gaze became sharper as he stared coldly at the group of ancestral dragons tied to the pillars. Fear flashed across Long Yan's eyes, but he didn't show it on his face. His hands were clenched tightly by his sides, and his entire body was trembling. He was clearly infuriated. I will give Yin Luofeng one more day. If she doesn't come by today, I will kill a citizen of the Dragon Clan. Chapter 2140. Long Yan's anger surged. Unfortunately, the difference in power was too great, causing the Dragon Clan to be forced into such a passive situation. Utian, back then, the Dragon Clan had already left the human mainland and was forced into this corner. Why are you still unwilling to let us go? Long Yan's heart was very heavy, and he could not suppress his pain. These damn humans, they were really going too far. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for helping Yin Luofeng. Therefore, you reap what you sow today. The corners of Utian's lips curled into a slight angle. His brows were calm, and his words were completely emotionless. It was as if he was talking about something unimportant. Long Yin simply closed his eyes and did not want to waste any more time talking to them. Apart from him, the rest of the Dragon Clan citizens all looked terrified, and their eyes were filled with panic. Time was racing against time. Soon, the deadline given by Utian had arrived. Seeing that Yin Luofeng had yet to appear, Utian's gaze swept across the area and landed on a young dragon who had yet to reach adulthood. Bring that child to me. The young dragon was a little boy. In human terms, he should only be around 3 or 4 years old. He was still at an ignorant age. When he saw the group of humans walking towards him, the little boy burst into tears. Mother, save me, save me. Even though he was still young, he knew why these people had come to capture him. Instantly, he flailed his limbs in panic, and tears covered his adorable little face. No. A woman who was tied up next to the little boy cried out in panic. She wailed at the top of her lungs, "Don't touch my child. If you want to kill me, kill me. Don't kill my child. I beg you. My child is still young. Please let him go." However, in the face of the little boy's cries and the woman's pleas, the humans were indifferent. It was as if in their eyes, this little boy was no different from a chicken or duck waiting to be slaughtered. In the end, the little boy was brought in front of Ution. His large eyes were filled with terror, and his little body trembled uncontrollably. "Kid, you're going to die." Feng Yongqing took 2 steps forward and grabbed the little boy's collar, dragging him in front of him. "However, you must remember that the person who caused your death was not me. It was Yun Luo Feng." Huh. By the time he had finished speaking, Feng Yongqing had already unsheathed his longsword. The light from his sword flickered with a piercingly cold light, contrasting with the little boy's panicked expression, making him look even more cold and merciless. "Enough!" Long Yin suddenly opened his eyes, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. "I am second only to the clan leader of the Dragon Clan. If you want to kill, it's better to kill me. Don't touch the children of our Dragon Clan." "Kill you?" Feng Yongqing coldly laughed and said disdainfully, "Don't worry, you will die sooner or later. However, you won't be afraid in the face of death. I don't like killing without fear. On the contrary, I like this little guy's expression very much." He carefully observed the fear on the little boy's face, and the smile on his lips grew wider. At this moment, because of the intense fear in his heart, the little boy was unable to cry. He opened his eyes wide and looked at the demon-like Feng Yongqing. Long Yan's body trembled. In the end, he closed his eyes helplessly, not daring to watch this cruel scene. However, the hatred in his heart was even more intense, as if there was a raging flame burning his heart. Chapter 2141. I'll count to 3. If Yun Luo Feng doesn't appear, I'll make this Dragon Clan child bleed on the spot. Feng Yongqing raised the long sword in his hand. His expression was cold and grim as his sharp gaze fell upon the pale little face in front of him. There was no sympathy in his heart. 1, 2, 3. He counted very slowly, but it was like a hammer smashing down fiercely. The child's mother cried, even more heart-wrenchingly, as she struggled to break free from the ropes binding her. The despair in her eyes would break anyone's heart. "There's no need to wait, kill him." Ution swept his cold gaze across and spoke indifferently. "It's just a dragon. To humans, what's the difference between that and an animal?" Feng Yongqing did not waste any more words. The long sword in his hand slashed down from the sky towards the little boy's head. The little boy forgot to cry. His face was in a daze as if the entire world had stopped at that moment. His mother fainted immediately. The other clansmen could not bear to watch and close their eyes. However, it was undeniable that their bodies were trembling violently. This trembling wasn't caused by fear, but by rage. As long as they were given the chance, they would definitely make these humans who had come to the Dragon Clan die a horrible death. Clang! Suddenly, Feng Yongqing's sword seemed to have received a heavy blow, causing his sword to slow down for a moment. It was also at this moment that a figure in a black robe streaked across the sky, charging towards Feng Yongqing with a loud bang. Feng Yongqing gently narrowed his eyes in the face of this sudden attack. He did not retreat. Instead, he took 2 steps forward as the corners of his lips curled into a sinister angle. Boom! A powerful force spread from the two of them. A strong wind rose and lifted the man's black robes, making his expression appear even colder. At the same time, the little boy, who had been in danger, was pulled over by an arm and fell into a warm embrace. The joy of survival left the little boy dazed for a moment before he burst into tears. He cried as he left the woman in white's embrace and ran towards his mother, who was still tied to the pillar. The child's mother heard his sobs and slowly woke up. When she saw that the little boy was still in one piece, she could not help but burst into tears. "You guys are finally here." Utian looked at Yun Luo Feng and Yun Xiao, who were standing in front of him. There was a faint hint of arrogance between his brows. "I had thought that you would be too afraid to come to the Dragon Clan. I never thought that you would really come. When Yun Luo Feng and Yun Shao appeared, the other experts of the seven continents also rushed over under the leadership of Hong Luan and Yun Qingya. Those people ignored Yu Tian and the others and hurriedly rescued the ancestral dragons that were tied up. Uncle Long Yen. Long Luo quickened her steps and asked with tears in her eyes, "Do you know where my father is?" "Eldest miss, you shouldn't have come back." Long Yen sighed. "Although your father is not here now, his life is not in danger. You can rest assured." So what if Yin Luo Feng was strong? How could they deal with Yu Tian and the others? Their return was tantamount to sending them to their deaths. Long Yin, stop talking. I'll get someone to save you first. Tears welled up in Long Luo's eyes. The rope that bound the ancestral dragon was made of a special material. This rope could restrain the power of the ancestral dragon clan, making it impossible for them to break free. Chapter 2098. Arrive 2. Therefore, as a member of the ancestral dragon clan, Long Luo was also unable to touch this rope. Only the group of humans could help them untie it. Not long after, all the ancestral dragon clan members were untied. Yun Luofeng's back was facing the group of people as she said indifferently, "Long Luo, bring the people of the ancestral dragon clan to save the clan leader. Leave these people to us." After saying this, she slowly took 2 steps forward and looked at Yu Tian. The evil smile on her lips was filled with an eerie coldness. "Yu Tian, I came to find you today to settle the score with you. You sent people to the 7 continents and killed so many people. Have you ever thought of retribution?" Yu Tian laughed lightly. "Retribution? In this world, I, Yu Tian, am a god. Those who do not listen to my orders will receive retribution. Yin Shao, how about we each take 2? Yun Luo Feng did not waste any more words with Yu Tian. "All right." Yin Shao nodded gently as her cold gaze swept across the 4 people present. Whoosh! As soon as she said this, Yin Luo Feng suddenly summoned the dragon scale armor. The dragon scale armor wrapped around her body and emitted a dazzling brilliance under the dazzling sunlight. "You overestimate yourself." Yu Tian laughed coldly as his body charged in front of Yin Luo Feng in an instant. A gust of wind appeared in the palm of his hand, and he slammed it towards her body. Yin Luo Feng tilted her body and barely dodged the attack. At the same time, Yu Tian's other attack was also unleashed. Feng Yongqing and the other 2 old men looked at each other and decided to charge towards Yin Luo Feng as well. However, the 3 of them had just made a move when they were stopped by Yin Shao. The sky became dark and gloomy at this moment. The wind howled and the clouds scudded as lightning flashed and thunder roared. "Yin Shao." Yin Luo Feng was shocked when she saw Yun Shao facing 3 strong cultivators on her own. She was about to speak when Yu Tian's attack interrupted her. The reason why the 3 of them had become the rulers of this mainland was proof that their strength was above the Ling family and everyone else. Yun Luo Feng couldn't divert her attention to Yun Shao. She could only use all her strength to fight Yu Tian. This can't go on. Yun Shao is strong, but the other side is even stronger. Moreover, she is fighting 1 against 3. Yun Luofeng's mind was racing and her heart was extremely heavy. Just as she was distracted, Yu Tian's fist landed on Yun Luofeng's body with a loud bang, causing her to retreat a few steps. A fishy taste surged up her throat. The 4 old men had brought many strong cultivators with them. These strong cultivators had just started fighting with the people from the 7 continents. In an instant, the entire dragon clan's sacrificial altar was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Yin Luo Feng glanced at Yun Shao from the corner of her eye. Even though Yun Zhao's expression didn't change, she could still see that it was very difficult for her to deal with these 3 people at the same time. "Girl, you dare to be distracted while fighting me?" Yu Tian smiled mockingly. His body quickly flashed to Yun Luofeng's back. A swift and fierce palm wind chopped down, carrying with it an irresistible force. It was as if Yin Luo Feng had grown an eye at the back of her head. When Yu Tian's palm wind fell, she quickly turned around and faced the attack from the opposite side. Boom! A powerful force struck her chest, but her feet firmly rooted to the ground. She didn't take another step back. Feng. Yin Xingya's gaze was always on Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao. When she saw that their situation wasn't very good, her heart was filled with anxiety. I'll help you. Chapter 2142. No need. Yun Luofeng wiped the blood from the corner of her lips and curled her lips. All these years, Yun Luofeng, have encountered many enemies, but I've never failed. It's the same this time. She raised her eyes, and her gaze was determined. Her white robes fluttered in the wind, and she was as beautiful as a painting. Mother, Yin Chutian stood at the side and clenched his little fists tightly. His large, bright eyes were filled with worry as he stared unblinkingly at Yin Luofeng. Very soon, Yin Luofeng and Yu Tian were fighting in the sky again. The crowd could only see the clashing figures in the sky, but could not completely capture their movements. Stop. Suddenly, an angry voice rang out from the side. This voice made the people in the sky stop. Yu Tian and the others in particular. Their eyes were clearly filled with impatience. With Long Luo's support, the elder slowly walked over. Perhaps he had yet to recover from his serious injuries. His elderly face was still rather pale, but his steps were firm. The four of you have come to the ancestral dragon clan to cause trouble and even want to kill people in my territory? Yu Tian laughed mockingly. I haven't killed you yet because I wanted to use you to lure Yin Luofeng here. Since she's already here, there's no need for you to exist. Don't worry, after I've killed Yin Luofeng and the others, I'll bury the entire dragon clan with them. The clan leader's face was ashen with anger, and he flung his sleeves angrily. When he saw Little Worm standing in the crowd, he wanted to say something but hesitated and did not say anything in the end. Miss Yin, this time, the dragon clan has dragged you down. I won't let this matter rest so easily. Even if I have to fight to the death with these people, I won't retreat. He turned his gaze towards the people in the sky, and his elderly face was filled with determination. No. Yin Luofeng shook her head. These people used the dragon clan as a hostage to force me to appear. More accurately speaking, I'm the one who's dragged you down. Indeed, if it had not been for her, perhaps Yu Tian would not have acted against the dragon clan. This was also why she had rushed over. Tis, Wei Xiang laughed disdainfully. It's useless even if you say so much. Everyone here today must die. Boom. The aura from his body spread out, making the weaker people feel as if they were unable to lift their heads. The clan leader flung his sleeves and flew into the void in a flash. He placed his hands behind his back and said with a cold expression, "Young Master Yin Xiao, I'm surprised by your strength. I wonder if I can join forces with you to deal with these three people?" Yin Xiao's strength was even greater than what he had seen on Spirit God Continent. Even though he was still at the Divine Lord Realm, there were similarly strong and weak within the Divine Lord Realm. However, even so, what Yin Xiao was facing wasn't just one ruler, but three. If the two of them worked together, perhaps there was still hope for victory. Even if you join forces, what can you do? Wei Xiang sneered disdainfully. The smile on his lips was filled with disdain, clearly not taking the Dragon Clan leader seriously at all. For a moment, the three of them took a step forward and surrounded the two from three directions. Yin Xingya and the others heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that the Dragon Clan leader had joined them. They focused on dealing with the enemies in front of them. The other members of the ancestral Dragon Clan also joined the battle. Hence, the originally one-sided spirit God Continent cultivators were clearly being suppressed. Chapter 2143. In the void, smoke rose again. Yin Luofeng retracted his gaze from Yin Zhao's body. Facing Yu Tian's sudden attack, he dodged to the side and circled around to his back. But before the long sword had even appeared, Yu Tian had already reacted and raised his weapon to block. After a clear clang, Yin Luofeng felt her palm go numb. She forcibly suppressed the numbness, and her face remained expressionless. Below, Yin Chutian clenched her fists tighter, and the worry in her eyes grew stronger. She bit her lips tightly, and her face was flushed as if it was carved from jade. She looked adorable. Mother. Her gaze followed Yin Luofeng and did not move away for even a moment. Tears almost flowed out of her eyes, and her expression grew anxious. Little brother said that he wanted Tian to protect Mother. But what should Tian do to help Mother? Of course, Yin Luofeng, who was fighting with Tian, did not feel Yun Chuqian's emotions. Ever since the clan leader joined the battle, she had placed all her attention on the battle with Tian. The Dragon Scale armor's time limit is almost up. I can't drag this on any longer. Yun Luofeng's eyes gradually grew heavy. She gripped her long sword tightly in her hand and gently closed her eyes. After a long while, she suddenly opened her eyes and looked at Yun Xiao, who was next to her. At this moment, Yun Xiao also turned her head to look at her. The moment their eyes met, Yun Xiao understood what she meant and nodded at her. Yun Luofeng withdrew her gaze when she saw this, and then a wisp of a smile arose on the corners of her mouth. Her figure flashed and immediately charged towards Tian. It was even to the extent that she didn't take any precautions at all, and she merely converged all her strength onto the sword in her hand. You're overestimating yourself. Tian laughed mockingly and indifferently faced Yun Luofeng's attack. Boom! The two swords collided in the air, and sparks shot out in all directions. Just as Tian was about to laugh out loud, he did not notice that a cold figure had leapt up from behind him and fiercely slapped his head with a palm. Boom! In an instant, Tian's body trembled. Blood flowed from his 7 apertures, and his eyes widened in astonishment. His gaze was filled with shock and disbelief. Feng Yongqing and the rest were also stunned. Just now, they had only cared about killing the Dragon Clan leader and hadn't noticed Yun Xiao heading towards Tian. By the time they noticed Yun Xiao's movements, it was already too late. Before they could even cry out in alarm, they saw Tian fall from the sky, head first to the ground. A deep pit was formed in the ground. I've dealt with one first. Yun Luofeng wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth, the smile on his face growing. Now, there are only 3 left. Boom! Rumble! Suddenly, the ground beneath Yun Luofeng's feet began to move. When she looked down, she discovered that the ground was rapidly splitting apart. What's going on? She frowned and asked coldly. The patriarch was the first to react. The spirit god continent exists with the 5 of us acting as the heart of the spell formation. If even one of us is lost, the spirit god continent will cease to exist. So, from today onwards, the spirit god continent will no longer exist. As the patriarch finished speaking, the cracking of the ground increased in speed. Even the sky had cracked open. Feng Yongqing and the rest were not in the mood to fight. Their expressions were grave as they stared at Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao with murderous intent. I've posted 2 chapters in Rush 1. Each one is 1,000 words long. I've also posted Rush 2. If you think I'm trying to trick you, you can go to the webpage and look at the word count. That's why there are still 3 chapters left. Chapter 2144. Mother! Yin Chuqian's frightened voice came from below. Yin Luofeng couldn't care less. She quickly rushed down and pulled Yun Chuqian into her arms. She could feel the trembling body of the little girl in her arms and hurriedly comforted. It's okay. Mother is here. You don't have to be afraid. It seemed that Yun Luofeng's warm embrace made Yun Chuqian feel at ease. She curled up in the woman's arms and buried her head in her chest. Yun Xiao also walked down from a void and hugged Yun Luofeng. His cold eyes were filled with gentleness, but this kind of gentleness would only appear where Yun Luofeng was. Fenger, we're going home. After he said that, Yun Luofeng clearly heard the sound of space cracking, as if the end of the world had arrived. After a long time, they fell from the sky. The disappearance of the spirit god continent did not mean that the people inside were obliterated. It was just that everything in the spirit god continent, including the houses and land, had all disappeared. After a long time, Yun Luofeng was finally able to adapt to the sunlight in front of her. She slowly opened her eyes and released the little girl in her arms. Tianer, it's okay. Yin Chuqian's body trembled. Her body was still firmly stuck to Yun Luofeng as she carefully looked around. Mother, what is this place? Yun Luofeng looked down at Yun Shutan and said gently, "This is the seven continents continent." At this moment, the others also reacted. The people brought by the ancestral dragon clan and the few leaders were fine, but the original residents of the spirit god continent did not know what had happened, and their eyes were filled with fear. Therefore, the entire city was filled with the sounds of those people wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. Wuyen! Suddenly, a startled voice came from the front, instantly attracting Cheng Wuyen's attention. Cheng Wuyen, who was originally standing beside Yun Qingya and the others, turned his head and saw a familiar figure. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. What a coincidence! Was this considered enemies on a narrow road? Cheng Wuyen never thought that he would actually see Qinggaoya here. It seemed like she was not far from the ancestral dragon clan at that time. Otherwise, she would not have fallen into the same place so coincidentally. A hint of coldness flashed across Qinggaoya's eyes. She said arrogantly, "Cheng Wuyen, you little bastard, why are you here?" When Yun Luofeng saw Qinggaoya, he recognized her, but she looked at Cheng Wuyen suspiciously and raised her eyebrows. "Didn't I ask you to go back and settle the Cheng family's matter? Why is this woman still alive and kicking here?" "This." Cheng Wuyen scratched his head. "When I returned to the Cheng family, they were already empty. I don't know where they moved to. I've been looking for them for months, but before I could find them, I happened to find out that someone was besieging the seven continents." Yin Luofeng raised her eyebrows and looked at Qinggaoya. She then looked at Feng Yongqing and the others, who had ugly expressions on their faces. She did not speak. She did not intend to intervene in Cheng Wuyen's matter. Moreover, the most important thing for her now was to deal with these three old men. Perhaps Yu Tian's death had agitated these old men, but they did not make a move for a long time. They only glared at Yin Luofeng and the others with angry eyes. Chapter 21:45. Long Luo. Qinggaoya was about to continue insulting Cheng Wuyen when she suddenly noticed Long Luo standing next to the clan leader. Her eyes widened immediately. She did not know that the people of the ancestral dragon clan were here, so she snorted fearlessly. "You damned girl, how dare you show yourself? You ran away from my Cheng family that day. Now that you've fallen into my hands, let's see who can protect you." What happened in the Cheng family that year was Long Luo's lifelong nightmare. Now that she saw Qinggaoya, fear rose in her heart, and she hurriedly hid behind the clan leader. The clan leader frowned. From a conversation between Qinggaoya and Cheng Wuyen, he could vaguely guess this woman's identity. At that moment, anger surged in his eyes, and a murderous intent shot out. A cold glint flashed in Qinggaoya's eyes. She turned to look at the old man who was shielding Long Luo, and her lips curled into a sarcastic smile. "So, the person who took Long Luo away that day was you. I didn't expect you to be so interested in such things at your age. You're actually interested in a little girl. However, I still advise you to return Long Luo to me. Otherwise, you'll definitely offend the Cheng family." The clan leader's brows furrowed even more, and he clenched his fists tightly by his sides. He sensed the fear in Long Luo's heart and raised his hand to comfort her little head. He then looked at Qinggaoya with a murderous gaze. Seeing that the old man ignored her words, Qinggaoya frowned slightly. "Can't you hear what I said to you? This little girl is my slave. You have no right to take her away." "Oh." The clan leader finally spoke. His old voice was dignified, and his gaze was cold. "I don't know. When did my daughter become your slave?" "Daughter?" Qinggaoya was stunned. This old man was Long Luo's father? In other words, she was also the ancestral dragon? However, Qinggaoya quickly regained her senses. "So what if you're Long Luo's father? No matter what, I'll take her away." "Oomph." The clan leader snorted coldly, and a biting cold aura exuded from his body. "I'm afraid you don't have the right to make the eldest lady of the dragon clan your slave." "The eldest daughter of the dragon clan?" Qinggaoya, who had been nonchalant at first, suddenly heard the clan leader's words. Her body trembled and her eyes widened. "You said she's the eldest daughter of the dragon clan?" "Impossible," I asked Long Luo at that time. She said she was just an ordinary ancestral dragon. Back then, Chung Gaoya knew that the eldest daughter of the dragon clan had gone missing. She had also met Long Luo at that time, so she had taken the initiative to ask about Long Luo's identity. At that time, Long Luo denied her identity as the young mistress. Long Luo stepped out from behind the chief leader and bit her lip. At that time, I thought my father was going to marry me off to a bastard. That's why I didn't dare to reveal my identity. I was afraid that you would send me back to the dragon clan. After getting Long Luo's acknowledgement, Chung Gaoya's body trembled. The arrogant arrogance from before instantly disappeared, and her entire face turned pale. You lied to me. You actually lied to me. If she had known Long Luo's true identity, she would never have done such a thing. Long Luo looked a little sorrowful. How can you say that I lied to you? I was too stupid. I thought that you would be grateful to me for saving you. Who would have thought that you would actually lock me up and force me to spit out my blood essence? If I had not met Lady Yun, perhaps, I would have been tortured to death by you. Chapter 2146. This was a classic case of being unrewarded for one's good intentions. After all, Long Luo had saved Chung Gaoya, yet she had committed such an ungrateful act. Chung Gaoya shut her eyes. After a long pause, she opened them again and stared straight at Long Luo. To us humans, spiritual beasts like you serve us. Isn't that so? Why should the dragon clan hide their blood essence and not allow us humans to use it? You won't have a good ending for your selfish actions. These members of the ancestral dragon clan would not let her off anyway, so she might as well speak her mind. Her eyes were filled with hatred. It was as if Long Luo, who had saved her life and had been imprisoned by her, owed her a debt of gratitude. Oomph. The clan leader's features were ashen. The dragon clan is also a living being. Since when have we fallen to the point of serving you humans? Who do you think you are to order the dragon clan around? Long Yin, kill this woman first. We'll deal with Feng Yongqing and the others later. Chung Gaoya's body stiffened and she gritted her teeth. Even if you kill me, you'll all die a horrible death. Her tone became shrill, and her eyes were filled with a blood-red light. Long Yan's body flashed, and he appeared in front of Chung Gaoya. His fist landed heavily on Chung Gaoya's body with a loud bang. His fist pierced through her chest and killed her on the spot. Chung Wuyan had not said a word. Even though he had planned to kill Chung Gaoya with his own hands, who would have thought that Chung Gaoya would have such bad luck and run into the ancestral dragon clan? Hence, he did not make a move and only stared calmly at Chung Gaoya, who was lying in a pool of blood. You reap what you sow. Chung Wuyan turned away and did not spare Chung Gaoya another glance. At the same time, the members of the ancestral dragon clan turned their attention towards Feng Yongqing and the others. Feng Yongqing laughed icily. Actually, that little girl was right about one thing. Spiritual beasts exist to serve humans. However, the dragon clan's temper is too strong. If you had submitted to humans earlier, perhaps many things would not have happened. The clan leader clenched his fists tightly as a mocking smile appeared on his face. The dragon clan has never submitted to anyone, especially to you. In fact, many years ago, Feng Yongqing and the others had wanted to join forces to make the dragon clan submit to them. However, this old man's character was as stubborn as a donkey, so they had failed. Lady Yun, young Master Xiao, let's join forces and kill them. The dragon clan leader relaxed his tightly clenched fists. His eyes were cold and stern. He subconsciously walked to Yun Luofeng and Yun Zhao's side and faced off against the three of them. Just as the battle was about to break out, with a boom, the ground trembled. The force of the trembling was very strong, as if something was trying to break through the ground and escape. Mother! Yin Chutian hurriedly held Yun Luofeng's hand. Tianer is scared. Boom! Boom, boom, boom. The sound of an earthquake instantly spread throughout the continent, causing everyone to panic. Yun Luofeng's brows furrowed. Yun Zhao's expression did not change as he held the girl's shoulder and protected her in his arms. Be careful. I feel like something is about to appear. His voice was very low, and there was a hint of heaviness in it. Chapter 2147. Boom. At this moment, the entire ground split open and a huge winged fire dragon rushed out of the ground. Huge flames soared into the sky and covered the entire horizon with a layer of raging flames. Roar! The dual-winged fire dragon let out a loud roar, and the entire sky was torn apart in an instant. Its eyes were very ferocious, and it looked at the crowd below with a fierce gaze. Winged fire dragon. The clan leader's expression changed greatly, and his eyes were filled with fear. Why would such an ancient creature appear here? At this moment, the winged fire dragon had yet to move. It hovered in the void, and its voice was very sorrowful, as if it was calling for its companions. Yin Luofeng was silent for a moment. When I first came to the 7 continents, I heard that there were ancient beasts suppressed under the 7 continents. If I'm not wrong, these ancient beasts are from the winged fire dragon clan. The winged fire dragon had existed since ancient times. How powerful was it? It could be said that the power of a winged fire dragon was comparable to the 9-winged sky dragon that Yin Luofeng had encountered before. Moreover, there were 7 winged fire dragons suppressed under the 7 continents. Even Yin Luofeng's expression darkened, let alone the others. But what I don't understand is why the winged fire dragon suddenly revived and broke free from its shackles. It must be because the spirit god continent collapsed, causing a large amount of spiritual power to flow into the 7 continents. This must have caused the winged fire dragon to revive. When the clan leader said this, his lips trembled slightly and his eyes revealed his fear. Although the ancestral dragon clan had lived for a very long time, they were still not as powerful as the ancient beasts. Against ancient beasts, he had no other choice. The winged fire dragon can cross an entire continent in an instant. If this winged fire dragon appears, it means that the other winged fire dragons have also revived. Yin Luofeng looked at Yin Xiao. Yin Xiao, I have no confidence in this battle, but I have no choice but to fight. Yin Xiao gently held Yin Luofeng's hand, her expression determined. I'll accompany you, to accompany her in life and to accompany her in death. Roar! The winged fire dragon's roar grew louder. Soon, they could feel a scorching heat coming from all directions. The heat was like the sun and seemed to have a power that could roast them into ashes. Be careful. Yin Xiao suddenly pulled Yin Luofeng and Yin Chutian to the side. A beam of fire shot down from the sky and landed on the ground where they were just standing. A bottomless pit appeared on the ground. Yin Xiao hugged Yin Luofeng tightly. At this moment, Yin Luofeng could feel his back drenched in sweat. His clothes clung tightly to his back. Ah! A heart-wrenching scream was heard. When everyone turned around, they saw Feng Yongqing covering his eyes. My eyes, my eyes. Feng Yongqing. Wei Xiang and Wei Yongqing were shocked and quickly walked in front of Feng Yongqing. However, in the face of an ancient, ferocious beast like the dual-winged fire dragon, there was nothing they could do. Wow! Some of the more cowardly people immediately burst into tears. They curled up in fear and stared at the twin-winged fire dragon in the void with fearful eyes. At this moment, the sky was burning with raging flames. It was so red that it looked as if it had been dyed by fresh blood. Roar! At this moment, the winged fire dragons in the sky finally moved. Flames rose from their mouths, and with a boom, they charged towards the ground. Chapter 2148. Everyone raised their heads to look at the flame, and the despair on their faces was reflected in the light. Whoosh! The white light rose up and was swallowed by the flame. At that moment, it was as if time had stopped, and the entire ground was calm. The winged fire dragon looked at the empty ground, then at Feng Yongqing and the other 2 who were lying on the ground. Its eyes were filled with confusion. It seemed to be wondering where the group of humans had gone to within the illusory array. The sky was blue, the water was clear, and the environment was quiet. The clan leader and the rest were dumbfounded. They did not understand what had happened. They had thought that they were going to die, for sure, but they were suddenly transported to another space. This was too unreal. The clan leader recovered from his shock and looked at Yin Luofeng in astonishment. Miss Yin, what is this place? It was clearly, this is an array, similar to your spirit god continent. Yin Luofeng's eyes darkened slightly. You will be very safe here. I want to go out and fight those winged fire dragons. Miss Yin, the winged fire dragons are much stronger than you think. If you go out, you will definitely not be their match. The clan leader shook his head helplessly and sighed softly. Yin Luofeng's lips curled up. I have no other choice. I still have my family on this continent. I should thank that winged fire dragon just now for attracting the rest of my kind here. Otherwise, I would have to worry about my family. However, even though the winged fire dragon is still here, he will leave sooner or later if I don't appear. When that happens, my family will be in danger. So I can only go out and fight. This was all she could do. If something really happened to her, and she was gone, the illusory array would naturally disappear, and the people inside would still not be in any danger. Mother, Tiana wants to go with you. Yin Chutian grabbed Yin Luofeng's hand. She was afraid, but she forced herself to calm down and looked at Yin Luofeng with her big, watery eyes. No. This time, Yin Luofeng rejected her without hesitation. Mother, Tian, it will be obedient and won't cause trouble. Yin Chutian was afraid that if he let go, he would never be able to see his mother again. Just as Yin Luofeng was about to say something, Yin Zhao's voice rang out beside him. Bring her along. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng was startled. But since Yin Zhao said this, then he definitely had his reasons. Moreover, she believed in Yin Zhao. Therefore, she no longer refused and nodded slightly. If there is any danger later, I will throw you in directly. This was her bottom line. An innocent smile appeared on Yin Chutian's face. Her face was so cute that it looked like it was carved from jade, and her big eyes were bright and moving. After saying this, Yin Luofeng's thoughts moved, and he, Yin Zhao, and Yin Chutian once again appeared where they were before. At this point, the ground was scorched and gave off a burnt smell. All the trees were destroyed, and even the corpses of Feng Yongqing and the other two were almost burnt to ashes. With the hatred between her and Feng Yongqing, at that time, she naturally would not care about them. Therefore, under the attack of the dual-winged fire dragon, they had already lost their lives. Roar! The winged fire dragon, who was about to leave, stopped when it saw Yin Luofeng and the others. It let out a low roar from its throat, and its slightly raised eyes were filled with arrogance and bloodlust. Chapter 2149. Then a winged fire dragon swooped down towards Yin Luofeng and the others. As an ancient beast, the winged sky dragon naturally cared a lot about its reputation. It simply disdained to attack these human ants together. Thus, only one winged fire dragon charged towards the two of them, while the others waited quietly in the sky. Yin Luofeng heaved a sigh of relief when she saw this. If all the winged fire dragons attacked together, she and Yin Zhao would not be able to handle them. However, even so, a winged fire dragon was still very powerful. Its body carried a scorching heat that would cause the enemy's fighting power to decrease slightly. Yin Zhao, we can't go on like this. There are a total of 7 winged fire dragons here. With our strength, I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on for long. Yin Luofeng and Yin Zhao fought side by side, while Yin Chutian hid far away to watch the battle. Just as she was thinking of a countermeasure, she suddenly saw a figure appear in the sky not far away. It was a man who looked like a banished immortal. He was so beautiful that he looked like he had walked out of a painting. He stood not far away and quietly watched Yin Luofeng and Yin Chutian fight the winged fire dragons. Zhu Qian. Yin Luofeng narrowed her eyes. Why was he here? Looks like you've already found the thing I left for you. Feng Jin's lips curled into a faint smile. His gaze swept across the terrified Yin Chutian, then turned to Yin Luofeng. However, why didn't you use it? If you use it, these winged fire dragons won't be a problem for you. Yin Luofeng was struggling to deal with the winged fire dragons. Now that she heard Zhu Qian's words, she frowned. You've recovered your memory? Also, what is the thing you left for me? Mo Qinqing's death has indeed helped me recover my memory. Feng Jin smiled faintly. It's just that I don't want to become Zhu Qian. I'm just Feng Jin. That's what I left for you. Aren't you asking the obvious? Feng Jin's gaze turned to Yin Chutian again. He looked at the girl's pale little face and said, "She is what I left for you." Although Yun Luofeng had already guessed this, her heart skipped a beat when she heard Feng Jin's words. She did not think that Feng Jin mentioning Yin Chutian was a good thing. Be careful. Yin Xiao saw that Yin Luofeng was in a daze and hurriedly stood in front of her to block the attack for her. Her brows furrowed slightly as she said, "Leave this to me. If you have any questions, you can ask him." Hearing this, Yin Luofeng raised his head and looked at the man in the air. "What is your intention in giving her to me?" Feng Jin was silent for a moment. "This little girl is not human. It was a coincidence that I picked her up and locked her up. My goal was to keep her for my future successor. Yin Luofeng, now that you're my successor, I can tell you that this little girl was born from the pure spiritual energy of the world. Her heart is the most precious essence of the world. If you consume her heart, you can immediately increase your strength to become a true god." A true god was the dream of many. Back then, Yin Luofeng had also wanted to break through to real god. But if the price to pay to break through to the true god realm was to consume Yin Chutian's heart, then she would rather not break through. "Zhu Qian, since you said that her heart could make a breakthrough to real god, why didn't you use it?" Chapter 2150. Zhu Qian found Yin Chutian, but left Yin Chutian to him. What was his intention? Feng Jin smiled. That smile was filled with sorrow and helplessness. "Perhaps it's because I don't want to become a true god. Becoming a true god gives me endless life, but I'm alone. I might as well reincarnate." At this moment, Yin Chutian was so frightened that she burrowed into Yun Luofeng's arms. Her eyes were filled with fear as she buried her head tightly in her mother's arms. Yin Luofeng sensed the fear in Yin Chutian's heart. She caressed her back gently and looked up at Feng Jin in the void. "Other than this method, is there no other way to defeat these winged fire dragons?" Feng Jin glanced at Yin Luofeng but did not speak. Seeing this, Yin Luofeng did not ask anymore. She hugged the trembling Yin Chutian tightly and said firmly, "Tian, don't worry. I won't enjoy your heart." Yin Chutian raised her jade-like face, which was covered in tears. Really, Mother will never lie to you." Yin Luofeng looked down with a gentle expression. Hearing this, Yin Chutian could no longer control her emotions and burst into tears. "Mother, Tian it doesn't want to die. Tian wants to be with Mother and little brother. I really don't want to die. No matter how special Yin Chutian was, she was still a child. No child could remain indifferent in the face of death." Roar! The winged fire dragons in the void were getting impatient. Their tempers had also become irritable. Yin Luofeng looked at Yun Xiao, who was fighting with the winged fire dragons, and her expression darkened. "Have you decided?" Feng Jin lowered his head to look at Yin Luofeng, his voice calm. "Yes." Yin Luofeng held Yin Chutian's little hand and took a step forward. "I won't sacrifice someone's life to save myself." Feng Jin hesitated for a moment. She's not human, but she has emotions. She can cry, she can be afraid, and she can feel pain. Yin Luofeng raised her head gently. "So, in my heart, she's no different from a real human. I would rather fight to the death than sacrifice her." Yin Chutian's body stiffened. She turned her head to look at Yin Luofeng, who was beside her. Her teary eyes were covered by a thin layer of mist, and her pale little face looked very pitiful. She remembered. She seemed to have been born at the beginning of chaos. When those greedy humans discovered her usefulness, they tried to obtain her heart to achieve their own goals. All these years, she had been on the run. After that, she was picked up by a human. That human did not harvest her heart, but locked her up. This trial lasted for 1,000 years. For 1,000 years, she stayed in an empty cell, so much so that her earliest memories had faded. She, who could speak before, had forgotten human language because there was no one to talk to. Until her appearance. Yin Chutian's tears increased and covered her entire face. She slowly closed her eyes. Over the years, she had met far too many people, and those people's greedy faces were as clear as day. However, only this woman in front of her would decisively reject such temptation. Then for the only warmth in this world, was she willing to sacrifice herself? Suddenly, Yin Chutian opened her eyes and loosened her grip on Yun Luofeng's hand. She thought she was willing. Chapter 21:51. Tianer, wait for me here. Yin Luofeng let go of Yin Chutian's hand and said gently, "We'll be able to go home soon." Yin Chutian nodded with a cute smile on her delicate face. "Little brother is still waiting for us at home, right?" "Yes." Yin Luofeng stroked Yin Chutian's little head and kissed her little face. "Be good and wait here for me to come back." After saying this, Yin Luofeng had already turned around and quickly walked to Yin Zhao's side. He quickly held his long sword in his hand and stared coldly at the winged fire dragon in the sky. "Yin Zhao, we need to get rid of her as soon as possible. The other winged fire dragons are getting impatient. If this continues, they might attack us at the same time." Yin Luofeng summoned his dragon scale armor and spoke with a serious expression. However, just as she finished speaking, the winged fire dragon in the sky was already impatient. It let out an angry roar and charged towards Yin Luofeng and the others below. The entire horizon was illuminated red by the flames. "Fenger, be careful." Yin Zhao reacted quickly and pulled Yin Luofeng into her arms. Her strong and tough body faced the winged fire dragons that were charging towards them. Boom! The flames crashed down and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of Yin Zhao's mouth. He still firmly protected Yin Luofeng in his arms and used his back to block all the danger. "Yin Zhao." Yin Luofeng felt as if he was being pricked by needles as he watched Yin Zhao's increasingly pale face. Tears flowed from the corners of his eyes. "Yin Zhao, enough? It was really enough." Yin Zhao lowered her gaze. Her black eyes were filled with endless gentleness. It was as if the flames that were crashing towards him did not cause him any pain. That's right, to him, it was enough as long as Yin Luofeng was alive. In this life, he was only willing to live for her. "Fenger." The man's voice was low and hoarse. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. "Don't cry. If you cry, my heart will feel even worse." "Yin Zhao, move aside." Yin Luofeng wanted to struggle out of Yin Zhao's embrace, but the man held her tighter and tighter, not giving her a chance to escape. "From the first time I saw you, I was attracted to you. Later on, I found out that it was because our physiques complemented each other. I admit that I stayed by your side in the beginning because you gave me a very comfortable feeling. You could even alleviate the pain of my breakthrough." Yin Zhao's lips curled into a smile. His smile was still so gentle, and his embrace seemed to transform into a myriad of mountains and rivers to embrace her. But then, Yin Zhao's voice choked for a moment before she continued. "I was captured by you." Yin Zhao used the word captive. Indeed, from the moment he met her and fell in love with her, he was destined to become her captive, unable to escape this cage for the rest of his life. But he was willing to endure it. "No matter if it's your aggressiveness, arrogance, or arrogance, it's all what I love. In this lifetime, I, Yin Zhao, have no regrets in loving you." Bang! The power of the 7 dual-winged fire dragons converged in the sky and crashed down with a loud crash. Under this powerful attack, Yin Zhao only gave a muffled grunt, his arms still tightly protecting the woman in his embrace. "If you're fine, then I can rest easy." Yin Zhao. Chapter 21:52. Tears flowed down Yin Luofeng's face. She raised her head to look at the man's increasingly pale face and closed her eyes in pain. Boom! Yin Zhao's body suddenly fell down. His body firmly pressed down on the woman beneath him. Even though he had fallen, he still used his body to block all the incoming damage for her. Not far away, Yin Chutian stared blankly at Yin Zhao, who had fallen to the ground. Her little face was also unknowingly covered in tears, but her spirited eyes were unusually calm. Yin Zhao. The attacks in the sky were still ongoing. Yin Luofeng was protected by Yin Zhao's body, so she was not hurt at all. However, she felt that the man's breathing was getting heavier and heavier. If this continued, she was afraid she would lose him forever. "Yin Zhao, move aside." For some reason, Yin Xiao was stronger than anyone else at this time. Yin Luofeng could not push away the man who was pressing down on her no matter how hard she tried. This filled her heart with despair. "Mother!" At this time, a childish voice rang in Yin Luofeng's ears. When she raised her head, she saw Yin Chutian's jade-like face. At this moment, Yin Chutian had a smile on her face. Her smile was a little mysterious, but it made Yin Luofeng's heart tremble. "Tian leave quickly. It's dangerous here." If it was only one double-winged fire dragon, perhaps she and Yin Xiao could fight it together. However, there were 7 of them now. The power of the 7 fire dragons gathered in the sky, as if it could destroy the world. Even if Yin Chutian was only affected by this power, his soul would immediately scatter. This time, Yin Chutian did not listen to Yin Luofeng. She pursed her pink and tender lips. "Mother, will you remember Tian forever?" Tian. Yin Luofeng was stunned and frowned. "What do you want?" "Mother, Tian has already remembered the past." Yin Chutian tilted her little head and smiled with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Mother, for giving Tian is such a beautiful memory. This is the happiest period of time since Tian can remember. Tian will always remember Mother. Also, when little brother can remember, Mother must tell little brother that Tian likes him very much. If in the next life, Tian still wants to be Mother's daughter." Yin Chutian closed her eyes slightly. Her entire life flashed before her eyes in slow motion. Ever since she met Yin Luofeng, all of her memories were filled with pain. He had spent his days being bullied and hunted, but only Yin Luofeng could bring her happiness. "Tian?" Seeing that Tian had already taken out a dagger, Yin Luofeng's face turned pale, and he shouted sternly, "Put that dagger down immediately." Yin Chutian opened her eyes. She glanced at Yin Luofeng, then at the winged fire dragons in the sky. She ruthlessly stabbed the dagger in her heart. "Tian?" Yin Luofeng's voice was heart-wrenching and lung-splitting. Her body began to tremble, but Yin Xiao had already lost consciousness. She, on the other hand, was firmly protected by Yun Zhao's body, unable to move. Therefore, he could only watch helplessly as Yin Chutian pulled out his heart. Yin Chutian's heart was very special. It wasn't bloody like a human's. Instead, it emitted a bright luster like a gem. But, looking at Yin Chutian's heart, Yin Luofeng seemed to feel that her own heart had also been dug out. Her face was already covered in tears, and her expression was one of pain. "Mother." Yin Chutian's face was pale as she staggered towards Yin Luofeng. She half knelt beside her, her long eyelashes gently drooping. "Tian is very afraid of death, but Tian is even more afraid of father and mother leaving." Chapter 21:53. Thus, she had willingly sacrificed herself. "Tian." Yin Luofeng gently closed her eyes. At this moment, she felt something ice-cold placed on her lips. At the same time, a faint wave of spiritual energy flowed into her body, bringing with it a faint smell of blood. Boom! In an instant, a blood-red light rose from Yin Luofeng's body. That light illuminated the entire sky in a blood-red color, as if the sun was shining high up in the sky. Then an illusory throne gradually appeared in the void. This throne was also red, a gorgeous and noble red that was incomparably grand. This time, there was no lightning. However, because of this strange phenomenon, it attracted the impulse of the entire mainland. That bright red throne emitted a dense coercion, causing everyone who faced it to feel a sense of respect. The red light lasted for a long time, so long that it reached the end of the world. Then, it gradually dissipated. Yin Xiao, Yin Luofeng, slowly crawled up from the ground. She took out a stalk of spiritual medicine and fed it to Yin Xiao. Then, she raised her eyes to look at the winged fire dragons in the void. "Go to sleep in peace. Once I'm done with these winged fire dragons, we'll go home." In the void, when the winged fire dragons saw Yin Luofeng's breakthrough, they were scared out of their wits and wanted to turn and run. However, they had only taken a few steps when they were blocked by a snow-white figure. Feng Jin stood quietly not too far away and looked at the peerless woman in snow-white robes. His face lit up with a gentle smile. There's only one way to use this little girl's power to break through. That is, she must willingly hand over her heart. Otherwise, even if you kill her 1,000 times, you won't be able to find where her heart is. This was also the reason why Yin Tian was able to survive the pursuit of so many people. As long as her heart was still there, she would not die. More importantly, unless she was willing, even if you cut her into 8 pieces, you wouldn't be able to find where her heart was hidden. Trying to escape? Yun Luofeng stood in front of the group of dual-winged fire dragons, his face cold, his eyes filled with rage. You all injured Yun Xiao, and even caused Tian Er's death, and now you want to escape? Even if I tear you into 1,000 pieces, it will not be enough to quell the anger in my heart. If not for them, Yun Xiao wouldn't have been injured and Tian wouldn't have died. Therefore, all of this was caused by this group of dual-winged fire dragons. Roar! The winged fire dragon roared and immediately scattered in all directions. This way, Yin Luofeng could only deal with one winged fire dragon. He could not kill them all. However, in the face of their escape, Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a cold smile, and he stood there calmly. Then, she gently closed her eyes. In an instant, her silhouette immediately split apart, and countless white silhouettes filled the void. Her white robes fluttered in the wind, and it was as beautiful as a painting. Those clones surrounded all the winged fire dragons, turning the void into a cage, making it hard for them to escape. Roar! The winged fire dragon was forced into a corner and spat out a mouthful of angry flames. Who knew that the flames would directly penetrate Yun Luofeng's body? Very quickly, Yun Luofeng's body returned to its original state. All of the doppelgangers closed their eyes and held hands in the void. At that moment, flames ignited on the bodies of the doppelgangers and shot towards the winged fire dragon that was surrounded by flames. Chapter 2154. After a while, in the sky, the wails of the double-winged fire dragon could be heard. Since you guys are fire dragons, I'll burn you to death with fire. This way, I'll make you lose all your dignity. You won't even die honorably. After saying this, Yun Luofeng descended from the sky. She squatted down and picked up Yin Tian, who was on the ground. Her heart ached. Tian, why are you so silly? Yin Tian forced a smile. Because you're Tian Er's mother, and you're the person who treats Tian the best in this world. Back then, she didn't know what family affection was. Now that she had enjoyed it, how could she give it up? Yin Tian's figure became more and more transparent, as though he would disappear from Yun Luofeng's hands at any time. Yin Luofeng hugged her small body tightly as tears flowed from his eyes. Tian, you won't die. I'll definitely find a way to save you. Little Mo, come out now. As soon as he finished speaking, Little Mo had already appeared beside Yin Luofeng. He pursed his thin lips tightly, and his eyes were filled with helplessness. Little Mo, quickly tell me, how can I help Tian? Yin Luofeng hugged Yin Tian's transparent body tightly, his voice trembling. Quickly tell me, will my heart be of any use to her? Master, Little Mo's heart ached. Her body is special. Your heart is of no use to her. You should restrain your grief and accept fate. Restrain my grief and accept fate? Yin Luofeng's body froze. Even Little Mo said that there was no way. Could she really not save Tian? If I can't save my loved ones, then what's the use of this lifetime's power? I've cultivated so hard until now just to protect the people around me from harm, but in the end, I still couldn't protect her. When she left with Yin Tian, she swore that she would protect her. But in the end, Tian sacrificed herself to protect her. Mother, don't cry. Yin Tian smiled, revealing her cute canine teeth. She raised her hand and caressed Yin Luofeng's cheek. Tian will always be with you. No. Yin Luofeng's voice trembled, and her eyes turned red from grief. She hugged Yin Tian tightly, as if she wanted to make her stay. Mother, Tian is leaving. Yin Tian lifted his long eyelashes, a teardrop at the corner of his eye. Also, Tiana wants to tell you, Mother, I love you. Mother, I love you. Yin Shutian's body became more and more transparent in Yun Luofeng's arms. In the end, it suddenly shattered and turned into specks of starlight that dissipated in her arms. Yun Luofeng's hand was still in the same position where he was hugging Yin Shutian, and he didn't come back to his senses for a long time. After a long time, she let out a heart-wrenching scream. Tian, however, the only response she got from the sky was the sound of the gentle breeze and the pained cries of the fire dragon in the void. Master! Little Mo quickly stepped forward and supported Yun Luofeng's body. No matter if it's a human or Yun Shutian, they can't live without a heart. It's not easy for her to be able to talk so much with Master without a heart. So, Yin Luofeng stared blankly at the reaction of Yun Shutian's disappearance. His heart was almost numb from the pain. If she didn't take Tian away, would everything not have happened? Chapter 2155. At this time, Feng Jin had already walked down from the sky. Dressed in white, he looked like an immortal, otherworldly. Why didn't you stop her just now? Yin Luofeng's voice was choked with sobs. She didn't even lift her head as she continued to stare at the place where Yun Shutian disappeared. Feng Jin pondered for a moment. That was her own choice. To her, living is more painful. She was willing to die for the person she loves. But she's just a child. Why should she sacrifice herself for our battle? I've said it before, she's not an ordinary person. Based on her age, she's older than the entire 7 continents. But in my heart, she'll always be a child. Yun Luofeng's lips curled into a bitter smile. She would always remember the first time she saw Yun Shutian in the secret chamber. The little girl, who was completely naked, stared at her with an innocent and confused look in her eyes. She looked so innocent and innocent. She is indeed dead, but she can still be alive. Feng Jin glanced at Yun Luofeng. In 5 years, she will appear in Heaven Emperor City. When that time comes, you can go there to find her. However, let me remind you that those who have reincarnated will not have any memories. She will also not remember you. So, whether she is willing to go with you or not depends on you. Yun Luofeng's ashen face finally showed a trace of change. She gently raised her eyes. 5 years later? Emperor City? Okay, I'll go there to find her. If she doesn't leave with me, I'll protect her for life. Feng Jin smiled. His clothes fluttered in the wind as he turned and disappeared from Yun Luofeng's side. He should also go find the lover of his 2 lives. Even though he missed her in both lives, he would never give up in his next life, no matter if she was a man or a woman. Yin Xiao. Yun Luofeng slowly crawled up from the ground, walked to Yun Xiao's side, and planted a kiss between his eyebrows. Thank you for staying by my side in this life, accompanying me, protecting me, indulging me. In the future, I will protect you. Master. Xiao Mo wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Yun Luofeng. She didn't look at the group of winged sky dragons in the flame prison anymore. She said calmly, let's go back to the Jun family. It's time to end this battle. The birth of a true god shook the world. Ever since the news of Yun Luofeng becoming a true god spread across the 7 continents, the Jun family's doorstep was almost broken. Especially since Yun Luofeng had a son, those families with little girls tried their best to enter the Jun family. But in the end, they were stopped by the Jun family. As for the dual-winged fire dragon that had been wailing for a few days and nights, no one paid any attention to it. In any case, it still couldn't escape death. 5 years later, at the back of the Jun family's mountain, the originally calm sky was finally dyed red by a blood-red light. Since the appearance of the red throne 5 years ago, another grand and luxurious throne had appeared in the void, causing the entire 7 continents to be shaken. Mother, mother, a cute little boy hurriedly ran over and crashed into Yun Luofeng's arms. He raised his cute little face and smiled brightly. Daddy, did you break through? Yun Luofeng nodded. She looked at where the throne had appeared, her gaze gentle. Yes, your father has also become a true god. On this land, it was very difficult for real gods to reach. It should be said that basically no one could reach such a height. Chapter 2156. However, Yin Luofeng had broken through because of Yin Chutian. Furthermore, Yun Xiao and Yun Luofeng's physiques were similar. Therefore, when he dual cultivated with Yun Luofeng, he could also reach this height. Thinking of Yin Chutian, Yun Luofeng's heart ached again. She could still recall the scene of this girl's disappearance all those years ago. It made her heart ache even more. However, 5 years had passed. It was time for her to find Tian Er's whereabouts. Just as she was thinking, Yin Luofeng saw a person dressed in black slowly walking over. Her lips curled up slightly. Yin Xiao. Yin Xiao strode over and pulled Yin Luofeng into his arms. He fiercely kissed her on the lips. His voice was gentle. Did you wait too long? Yin Xiao, Nianfeng is still here. Yin Luofeng pushed Yin Xiao away and glared at him. Yin Nianfeng's eyes lit up. There was no need to mention how envious he was. His small body pounced on Yin Luofeng, and he pouted. Mother, I want a kiss too. At that moment, Yin Zhao's entire face darkened. He lifted Yin Nianfeng up from Yin Luofeng's body. He narrowed his cold eyes and threatened coldly. Looks like you're bored and want to find something to do. Under his father's threatening voice, Yin Nianfeng's body trembled pitifully. Feng, I've already confirmed that this boy is the reincarnation of that bastard Songji. Yin Xiao turned to Yin Luofeng. He's already so lecherous at such a young age. He even wanted to molest my wife. 2 years ago, he even wanted to sneak into a servant girl's bath. Fortunately, I caught him in time and gave him a beating. I also ordered people to watch him so that he could change his lecherous habit. Usually, Yin Luofeng was more protective of Yin Nianfeng. However, when it came to this aspect, no matter how Yun Xiao punished Yin Nianfeng, she would always stand at the side and encourage Yin Xiao. So, having been persecuted by Yin Luofeng and Yin Xiao, he hadn't had time to develop his lecherous nature before it was deeply restrained. Who asked Yin Xiao to be so savage? He didn't dare. Yin Xiao, 5 years is up. Yin Luofeng was silent for a while before saying. Yin Xiao was stunned. Back then, in order to protect Yin Luofeng, he had suffered too much damage, which was why he had fainted. As for what happened after that, Yin Luofeng told him after he woke up, it's been 5 years. It's time for us to find her. Yin Nianfeng was confused. Father, mother, who are you looking for? The two of them looked at each other. Yin Luofeng smiled. Go find your fiancé. Fiancé? Yin Nianfeng tilted his head and asked curiously, what's a fiancé? Can it be eaten? Although Yin Nianfeng had lustful thoughts before, it was because of curiosity. He was still a child and didn't know what a fiancé was. A fiancé is someone who is accompanied by a father and mother for a lifetime, Yin Luofeng explained. Yin Nianfeng blinked his eyes gently. Someone I can hug, sleep with, and even kiss. However, Nianfeng isn't as bad as father, pressing down on mother every night. I can even hear mother's cries of pain. Yin Luofeng's face darkened, and he glared at Yin Xiao again. If you dare to mess around in front of the child again, get out of the room and sleep. Hearing this, Yin Xiao was very innocent. At most, I'll hug and kiss you in front of Nianfeng. I won't mess around. Chapter 21:57. Yin Luofeng regained his senses and narrowed his eyes at Yin Nianfeng. Tell me, how did you know that father was suppressing mother? I was hiding under the bed when I was playing hide and seek with Xiao Cui. I overheard it. Yin Nianfeng didn't know what he had done wrong and confessed honestly. Overheard? Yin Zhao's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. She immediately picked Yin Nianfeng up. Let's go. Let father test how your cultivation has been recently. After saying this, Yin Xiao carried Yin Luofeng out of the courtyard. Not long after, Yin Nianfeng's ghostly wails and howls could be heard. Yin Luofeng didn't stop Yin Xiao. She looked at the azure sky and sighed deeply. 5 years, Tian mother will bring you home soon. In the 7 continents, other than the various states, there was also a royal family in each continent. However, the royal family of the 7 continents was only better than the aristocratic families and was suppressed by the major sects and the continent lord's mansion. Even so, the royal family still held a certain amount of power and was an existence that was respected by the common people, Sky Emperor City. A weak figure was tied to a pillar. Below her was a group of people holding torches. Her eyes were full of fear, as well as despair. It's all this witch's fault. She's so vicious at such a young age. She couldn't bear to see the second princess being doted on by His Majesty and was jealous of the second princess being respected by everyone, so she wanted to kill her. The second princess is such a good person. She's simply a goddess who saves people from suffering. At that time, everyone in Sky Emperor City was infected with a very serious infectious disease. If it wasn't for the second princess, we wouldn't have been able to be saved. Everyone was enraged, and they all wanted to kill this weak little girl. The little girl was very young, only 3 or 4 years old. Her body was dirty, and her original appearance couldn't be seen. Her little face was pale, and her whole body was trembling. No, it wasn't like that. The illness a few months ago wasn't treated by her second royal sister. It was a method she researched. She was afraid that no one would believe her because she was too young, so she didn't take action. At that time, her second royal sister came to find her. She was the only one who knew that she was self-taught at such a young age, so she told her the method. Who knew that second imperial sister would take all the credit and even want to harm her? The little girl felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to say these words, but she knew that no one would believe her. These people could not wait for her to die. Why? The emperor has arrived. A sharp voice rang out, and after a while, a yellow-robed man walked over under the lead of a group of guards and maids. The man's expression was dignified, and his gaze was cold. Do you know what you did wrong? The little girl shook her head and bit her lips. She was not wrong. Your mother was such a gentle and virtuous person. How could she give birth to such a vicious daughter like you? You're only 4 years old, yet you're already so scheming. You even want to murder your second sister. The man slammed his palm on the table and said angrily, "All these years, the royal family has raised you, but you haven't made any contributions. Your second imperial sister is 3 years older than you, and all she knows is to serve the country and the people. She cured such a serious infectious disease, and even the #1 physician of Heavenly Imperial City intends to take her in as his disciple. Look at you. Other than eating and drinking, what else can you do? Just because your second imperial sister has such achievements, you're jealous of her and want to murder her. Don't you know that you're wrong?" The man's expression was cold, but his words were like pearls. The little girl bit her lips, and tears flowed down her face. "I said that I could understand medicine, but you told me to go play and not bother you." Chapter 2158. At that time, she did tell these people that she could understand medicine and write on her own, but they did not believe her. "You still dare to spout nonsense now." The man's expression became even more furious. "You were only a 2-year-old child at that time. You told me that you could write and understand medicine. Wasn't this all because your mother deliberately told you to exaggerate to attract my attention? It seems that you and your mother are not good people. Fortunately, your mother died a few months ago. Otherwise, I would not have let you and your mother off." The little girl lowered her head and her shoulders shook. She could walk on her own at 3 months and speak at 7 months. When she was 1 year old, her mother had taught her how to write. Every time her mother wanted to find this man to tell him about her behavior, she would be chased out by this man's nonsense. Then, he would put both mother and daughter under house arrest in the room, not allowing anyone to visit them. It was only when she was 2 years old that she was released. In order to see her father, whom she had never seen before, she had excitedly run over to tell him about her intelligence. However, he had pushed her away harshly and ordered the guards to chase her away. All these years, only second imperial sister had come to play with her. Therefore, second imperial sister was the only one who knew that she had medical skills. "Someone burn this good-for-nothing to death. My palace does not raise good-for-nothings." The man's cold voice made the little girl raise her head, and her eyes were covered with tears. As her eyes blurred with tears, a beautiful face seemed to appear in her mind. This face had appeared in her dreams at night for many years. Although she did not know who the other person was, she knew that they must be inextricably linked. "I don't want to die." She did not want to die, because it seemed that she had not seen the person she wanted to see. She still had a promise that she had not fulfilled. How could she die here? The little girl bit her lips, and her eyes were hazy with tears. She saw a huge dragon in the blue sky, and there seemed to be a few figures standing on the dragon's back. "Your Majesty, it's a dragon." In the crowd, someone let out a cry of surprise. The man who was originally sitting on the dragon throne suddenly stood up, his expression excited. "It's really a dragon. Looks like the dragon couldn't stand it anymore, so he came to destroy this vicious girl." The man's lips curled into a smile. To humans, the Dragon Clan was a symbol of strength and power. It made everyone want to worship them. "Quick, set fire to this demoness." Someone in the crowd made a sound, and everyone happily threw their torches at the little girl. The little girl was so scared that she closed her eyes. At this moment, the giant dragon let out an angry roar. The torch that was originally flying towards the little girl was bounced back and fell into the crowd, burning with a whoosh. Panicked voices could be heard from the crowd. Those foolish humans were all being burned by the flames. Some people brought water, but for some reason, the flames could not be extinguished no matter how hard they tried. The little girl opened her eyes and looked at the sky. Hence, the peerlessly beautiful face that had appeared in her mind in her dreams was reflected in her eyes, causing her frozen eyes to slightly widen. Her gaze was unable to shift away from the white-clothed lady. The lady leaped up from the back of the giant dragon. Her white robes fluttered as she stood in front of the little girl with a smile on her lips. Chapter 21:59. This chapter was a combination of 2 chapters, so the book coins might be more than the other chapters. "I've seen you before." The little girl's voice was very young and crisp, but it was full of certainty. "I've seen you in my dreams." The girl's smile was very beautiful. It was hard to describe her beauty with words that could topple cities and countries. "Tian, I'm here to take you home." "Home?" The little girl's body stiffened. "You call me Tiana? I don't know why, but I feel that this name is very familiar, but it also seems very distant. Have I seen you before?" "Yes." Yin Luofeng's lips curled up. "You were my goddaughter in your previous life, and also my son's fiancée. That day, you lost your life to save me, so I came to find you as promised." Yin Luofeng had selfish motives. She liked Yin Chutian a lot and wanted her to be her daughter-in-law. Thus, when she introduced Yin Chutian's previous life, she subconsciously brought this identity with her. Whoosh! Yin Luofeng casually waved her hand, and the rope that bound Yin Chutian loosened. She raised her hand to catch the little girl who was about to fall to the ground. Looking at the little girl's sallow and emaciated appearance, her heart ached. "Sorry, I'm late." At this moment, Yin Luofeng was blaming Feng Jin. Feng Jin said that he could only come to Sky Emperor City to see Yin Chutian 5 years later. She always thought that Yin Chutian would be born 5 years later. She didn't expect that Yin Chutian had already been reincarnated for 5 years and had suffered so much. "I'll help you kill all the people who hurt you. Don't leave a single one alive." When she said this, a cold glint flashed across Yin Luofeng's eyes, and her voice was filled with killing intent. The little girl grabbed Yin Luofeng's hand and shook her head slightly. "No, don't kill them." "Why?" Yin Luofeng asked curiously. "Your strength, isn't it very powerful?" The little girl raised her head and looked at Yin Luofeng eagerly. Yin Luofeng hesitated for a while and nodded. The little girl revealed a bright smile. "Then can you teach me how to cultivate? No one has taught me all these years. I want to have the strength to take revenge on my own." Hearing this, Yin Luofeng laughed. This was her daughter. Whoever hurt her, she would use her own strength to take revenge. "All right, I'll teach you. However, I can spare their lives, but I won't let them go so easily." Yin Luofeng's eyes flashed, and he coldly ordered, "Yin, go to the East Continent Prefecture and tell the East Continent Lord what happened here. He knows what to do." The Heavenly Sovereign City belonged to the East Continent. As long as the East Continent's Continent Lord spoke out, the Heavenly Sovereign City would never be able to rise again. Yin Luofeng picked up the little girl, removed the straw from her head, and said, "As for the other matters, when you grow up, you can personally take revenge." At this time, Yun Shao and Yun Yinfeng also walked down. Yin Yinfeng saw Yun Chutian at first glance, and his little face frowned. Mother, why is little sister so dirty? Did some bad guy bully her? Yun Luofeng glanced at Yun Yinfeng, then at Yun Chutian, and said, Yinfeng, you have to protect your sister in the future. Don't let anyone bully her again, understand? Yin Yinfeng solemnly patted his chest. Mother, don't worry. Yinfeng will protect my sister. Hearing this, Yin Luofeng finally revealed a smile. Come, let's go home. Inside the city, the emperor jumped to a high place, and only then did he avoid the raging flames. When he regained his senses, he saw the little girl who was already far away and roared angrily, Quick, stop them. He didn't see Yin Luofeng jump down for the giant dragon, so naturally, he didn't know her strength. However, no matter how angry he was, he could only watch as Yin Luofeng and the others went far away. Not far away. On the mountain range, a man stood with his hands behind his back, facing the wind. His white robe fluttered in the wind, and his slightly raised eyes looked at the heavenly sovereign city not far away. 5 years have passed. Yin Luofeng should have found Yun Chutian by now. I hope she doesn't blame me for making him wait 5 years to find her. Feng Jin's gaze was distant. If it had been a year earlier, Yun Chutian's mother's fate wouldn't have been able to escape death, and Yun Chutian's ending would also be different. Only finding her now is the best ending. At this moment, a delicate little Lolita walked to Feng Jin's side. Her little hand tugged on Feng Jin's sleeve. Her round little face was pink, and she looked very cute. Master, Cheng'er is hungry. Master will cook for Cheng'er. Hearing this young voice, the man turned around and smiled gently. Okay, Master will go right away. Be good and play by yourself first. Master, Cheng'er is clearly a girl. Why did you give Cheng'er such a masculine name? The little girl pouted and said with dissatisfaction. Feng Jin lowered his head, and his big hand gently rubbed the little girl's head. Because Cheng'er is Master's most beloved person. It's just that Master couldn't let go of all the grudges and accept him, and instead caused his death. In this life, Master will not make the same mistake again. Now that I've found you, I will be by your side for the rest of my life, accompanying you as you grow up. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. End of the finale. Chapter 2160. The 7 Continents. The Jun family. It had been a few years since that battle. The 7 continents had been relatively peaceful. Nothing had happened, except that Yin Luofeng was pregnant again. Yes, she was pregnant again. The entire Jun family was in a jubilant mood after the news had spread. Everyone had a smile on their faces. Even Old Man Yin had gone to find Old Man Yi for a drink. It had been a long time since he had last seen him. The Jun family's courtyard. Yin Luofeng lay in Yun Zhao's arms. She smiled as she watched Yun Yinfeng and Yun Chutian chase each other. This kind of life was really good. Miss! Suddenly, a hurried voice came. Yin Luofeng looked up and saw Qing Yin quickly running in from outside. She panted and said, Miss, Dean Ji Jiutian is here to see you. Jiutian? Yin Luofeng was stunned. He had been missing ever since he parted ways with Ji Jiutian in the Fengyun continent. Even when the 7 continents were facing a crisis, he did not appear. Now, he had finally shown up. Yin Xiao, let's go see Ji Jiutian. I want to ask him where he has been all these years. Yin Luofeng stood up from Yin Zhao's embrace. There was a smear of urgency on his face. Yin Xiao silently followed behind Yin Luofeng. She knew that Yin Luofeng had not forgotten about Ji Jiutian all these years. It was just that he did not want to come out, so she did not look for him. Now that Ji Jiutian had finally shown up, she was naturally anxious to see him. Just as she finished speaking, a man in a blood-red robe walked in from outside the courtyard. Just like when they first met, he was still as domineering as ever, a devastatingly beautiful woman. Jiutian, Yun Luofeng's lips moved. You are finally back. Yes, I am back. Ji Jiutian stood not too far away from Yun Luofeng. He looked at the woman's flower-like smile, and the corners of his lips curled into a slight smile. Do you want to know where I've been all these years? Yin Luofeng smiled. If you want to tell me, you will. If you are unwilling, I will not force you. Jiuqian sighed. This woman was still the same after so many years. She had not changed at all. Similarly, she still moved his heart. But there were already people guarding the beautiful woman, so it was enough for him to accompany her as a close friend. Xiaofeng, all these years, I've been looking for a way for you to return to your homeland. Of course, I'm afraid I won't be able to find this method by myself. It's all thanks to Zhu Qian's reminder and Chen Yuqing's help. Chen Yuqing. At this moment, the face of a banished immortal appeared in Yun Luofeng's mind. In truth, Chen Yuqing was the most mysterious man Yun Luofeng had ever met. Even now, she still couldn't figure him out. You're talking about a way to return to China? Yun Luofeng's eyes lit up. Her enemy was waiting for her in Huaxia. Yes, Ji Jiuqian had a complicated look in his eyes. Zhu Qian was the one who told me about this. When he recovered his memories, he found me and told me that you don't belong to this continent. There's only one way for you to go back. Chen Yuqing and I spent many years together to find that way for you. Yun Luofeng felt a little touched. In this world, there were still so many friends who helped her without complaint or regret. Thank you. You never need to thank me. Ji Jiuqian raised his eyebrows. If you really want to thank me, why don't you make your son my disciple? Chapter 2161. Yun Luofeng glanced at Yun Yinfeng, who was playing with Yun Chutian, and called out, Yinfeng, come here. Yun Yinfeng quickly ran to Yun Luofeng. Just as he was about to squeeze his small body into Yun Luofeng's embrace, Yun Xiao lifted him up by his collar. Daddy is so cruel. He didn't even let Yinfeng hug Mommy. Yun Yinfeng pursed his lips and said pitifully, Yinfeng. Yun Luofeng did not care about the aggrieved Yun Yinfeng. She smiled and said, Do you think he is your master? Yun Yinfeng blinked and shifted his gaze from Yun Luofeng to Ji Jiuqian. A trace of curiosity flashed across his eyes, but he was an obedient child. Thus, under Ji Jiuqian's domineering gaze, Yun Yinfeng obediently called out, Master. Ha! Ji Jiuqian laughed wildly and raised his hand to rub Yun Yinfeng's little head. This little fellow is quite talented. I will definitely nurture him well. In reality, he only wanted to find an excuse to stay by her side. That was all. Jiuqian, when we return, I will let Yinfeng follow you. Now, I have to bring him back to our homeland. After Yun Luofeng finished speaking, he shouted, Yinfeng Tianer, let's go. Mommy. Yun Chutian skipped to Yun Luofeng's side, and a bright smile bloomed on his little face. Where are we going? To a place that you have never been to before? Really? Yun Chutian's eyes lit up. Is there delicacies there? Yes, there are many things that you have never eaten or seen before. Huaxia was the capital of delicacies. Even though Yun Zhao's culinary skills were excellent, there were still many things that this mainland did not touch upon. Thus, what Yun Luofeng said was not wrong. Mommy. Yun Yinfeng also held Yun Luofeng's other hand and smiled innocently. I don't like to eat delicacies or anything else. I just want to stay by Daddy and Mommy's side. When Yun Xiao saw the two little fellows occupying Yun Luofeng's left and right, he wanted to throw them out. However, when he heard the next sentence, his expression softened. Let's go. He raised his hand and hugged Yun Luofeng's shoulder. The corners of his lips curled into a gentle smile. Before we leave, let's go say goodbye to the old man and the others. She didn't know how long it would take for her to return, so she needed to inform old Master Shun and the others. The Yin family and the Yi family had stayed in the 7 continents ever since the Great War. They didn't have other residences either. They were now living in the Jun family's residence. The 3 old men played chess every day and were very happy. Even Jun Fengling looked like Yi Shima already had a fiancé. This fiancé was someone that Yun Luofeng was familiar with. It was the Golden Sun Princess whom he had met on the Wind Cloud continent. She had later changed her name to Lian Yuesheng. Back then, Yi Shima, who had gone out to train, had somehow entered the Wind Cloud continent and met Lian Yuesheng. It was only when Yi Shima brought Lian Yuesheng home that he found out that Yi Shima was Yun Luofeng's sworn brother. Everyone knew that Yi Qi had a crush on Yi Shima. After Yishima brought Lin Yueshing back, she cried her heart out and disappeared. Even though Jun Fengling couldn't let go of Yi Qi, she knew that Yi Qi needed to go out alone to calm down. Thus, she didn't disturb her. Moreover, with Yi Qi's current strength, basically no one in the mainland could hurt her. Chapter 2162. The Jun Family. In the garden, several old men were drinking tea and laughing heartily from time to time. Suddenly, Lord Yin saw Yin Luofeng walking over from outside the door. He laughed and said, "Feng why have you come?" "Grandfather, I'm here to say goodbye." Yin Luofeng's lips curled up slightly. "This time, Yin Xiao and I are going somewhere. I don't know when we'll be back." The old men were stunned. Seeing Yin Luofeng's serious expression, they looked at each other. Now that the mainland was at peace, what mission did she have to complete? "You go." Grandpa Jun muttered to himself for a moment before slowly saying, no matter what Yin Luofeng wanted to do, it was enough for them to support her. "Shower, no matter what, you have to bring Yin girl back safely. Do you understand?" Yin Xiao lowered his head to look at the woman in his arms, and the corners of his lips curled into a shallow arc. "Protecting her is my lifelong duty. And me." Little Nianfeng immediately jumped out like a little man. "Nianfeng has to protect Mother too." "Good child, huh?" Grandpa Jun laughed maniacally, his eyes filled with admiration. "Girl." Grandfather Yin looked at Yin Luofeng with a sad expression. "I don't care where you go. You have to come back as soon as possible. Now that you've finally settled down, I don't want you to leave for so many years." Yin Luofeng's heart warmed. All these years, she had been away from her family, but there was a reason she had to go to China. Other than her enemies, there was also her mentor who raised her. It could be said that without her mentor, she would not be here today. "I promise you, I will come back as soon as possible." Yin Luofeng turned to look at Yin Xiao. "We should go. But before we leave, I have to go find Nangong Yuni." Nangong Yuni was different from her. He had family in China, so she could not leave Nangong Yuni here. Central Continent. In the Continent Lord's Manor, Hong Luan was walking on the road when she was suddenly blocked by a figure. She raised her head and looked at the man in front of her as she asked unhappily, "What are you doing following me around all day?" Luofeng said that chasing a woman requires perseverance. "So, wherever you are, I will be there," Nangong Yuni said shamelessly. Since the moment he met Hong Luan, he had already set his mind on her. Hong Luan glared at him and was about to walk past him when Nangong Yuni suddenly grabbed her arm and asked, "Hong Luan, I have something to tell you." Hong Luan stopped and turned her back to the man behind her. "What? Do you want to know how Fallen Maple and I got to know each other? Don't you want to know how Luofeng and I met?" Luan Luan was to the Nangong Yuni. "Luan." Nangong Yuni turned to two. Nangong Yuni didn't get angry. The corner of his mouth raised into a handsome arc. "In reality, I'm the same as Maple Luo. Neither of us are from this continent. We come from a country called China." "China?" Hong Luan raised her head in surprise. "There's a country in this world known as Huaxia. That's a place where there's no cultivation and no spiritual energy. Naturally, there are no spiritual beasts," Nangong Yuni continued. "China is a famous country. It's also known as the capital of delicacies. Fallen Maple and I met at China University. At that time, I couldn't get out of bed for a few months because of her beating." When he thought of their first meeting, Nangong Yuni's handsome face twitched a few times. That was practically the nightmare of his life. Next, Nangong Yuni told Hong Luan about what he had seen and heard in Huaxia, about his family in Huaxia, and more importantly, about how they had come to this world. Hong Luan had never heard of or seen these things before. She was stunned all of a sudden. She quietly stood in front of Nangong Yuni and listened to her narration. Chapter 2163. The things you've said are truly unimaginable. There is actually a space in this world that was beyond her imagination. Hong Luan, everything I've said is true. Now, I'm telling you all this because I want to be honest with you. I will use my truest side to pursue you. Nangong Yuni's expression was unprecedentedly serious, and his tone was also very resolute. Hong Luan was a little flustered. Just as she was about to say something, she suddenly saw Yin Luofeng and the others appear in the sky. Yin Luofeng. Her heart leapt with joy, and she broke free from Nan Gong Yun's grasp. She then quickly walked towards Yin Luofeng and the others. "Why are you here?" Yin Luofeng smiled. "I'm here to look for Nan Gong Yuni." She then turned her gaze towards Nan Gong Yuni, and her expression turned solemn. "Nan Gong, Zhou Tian has found a way to go back." "Go back?" Nan Gong Yuni's heart trembled. "You mean back to Huaxia?" Ever since he had arrived on this mainland, he had never thought that he would ever be able to return. "That's right. Pack your things and leave with me immediately." Nan Gong Yuni hesitated when he heard this. In the past, he would have left with Yin Luofeng without a second thought. But now, this continent already had something he cared about. Hong Wan seemed to sense Nan Gong Yuni's thoughts. She rolled her eyes at him before turning towards Yin Luofeng. "I've heard Nan Gong Yuni speak of a country called Huaxia. I wonder if I can go with you to see it." Nan Gong Yuni's heart leaped with joy. "Do you mean that you want to go with us?" Was he dreaming? Idiot! Hong Wan threw those words at him before flicking her sleeves and leaving. She needed to pack her things and bid farewell to her father. Nan Gong Yuni stared blankly in the direction that Hong Wan had left. His face was filled with excitement and excitement. "Luofeng, does this mean that Wanner has accepted me?" Yin Luofeng and Yun Shao looked at each other and saw the smile in each other's eyes. "Hong Wan has already decided to go home with you. What do you think?" The woman's good-natured mockery made Nan Gong Yuni so excited that he almost jumped. His handsome face was full of smiles. "Luoner has accepted me. She's finally accepted me." He had not followed behind her all these years in vain. "Let's go." Yin Luofeng shrugged his shoulders. "I've been on this continent for 20 years. I wonder if 20 years have passed in Huaxia." Nan Gong Yuni had already recovered from his excitement. "I don't have anything to pack. We can set off once Luoner arrives." After a while, Hong Wan walked over from the front. Her red clothes fluttered in the wind. She was so beautiful that she could cause the downfall of a nation. Nan Gong Yuni was unable to shift his gaze away from her. But Hong Wan did not even look at him. She said to Yin Luofeng, "I have already said goodbye to my father. We can go now." "All right." Yin Luofeng nodded. "The 9 heavens are waiting for us. Let's hurry over." China. She could finally go back. Yin Luofeng's gaze softened a bit as she thought of her master, who had carefully nurtured her for many years. Her master had no children, so he adopted her from the orphanage and taught her everything he knew. She didn't know if her master would be able to take the shock when he learned of her death. Chapter 2164. Huaxia. In a luxurious office, a middle-aged man leaned against the sofa with a cigar in his mouth and closed his eyes in enjoyment. "It's good to live like this." There was a smile on his face as he leaned back comfortably in the massage chair. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open, causing the man to frown. He opened his eyes impatiently and looked at the beautiful woman with heavy makeup in front of him. He asked, "Why are you here?" "I'm here to see if you've been seduced by a vixen again." The beautiful woman snorted and gracefully walked in from the door. Her eyes swept across the room. She only relaxed when she didn't see any other women. "What do you mean? Why are you so suspicious?" The man frowned and sounded annoyed. "Yin Tianqi, don't forget that you can't get away with my father's achievements today." Lin Suizue sat down next to Yin Tianqi. "If my father's men didn't kill your brother and sister-in-law, would you have been able to rob them of their property?" Yin Tianqi's expression changed when he heard Lin Suizue mention the past again. He hurriedly walked to the door and opened it. Seeing that no one was eavesdropping, he closed the door and let out a sigh of relief. "Don't talk about this again. If it gets out." "What are you afraid of?" "Yin Luofeng is dead. What are you still worried about? Besides, with my father's influence, you don't have to worry about that at all." Lin Suizue curled her lips and said disapprovingly, "It was just a dead man." She wondered what Yin Tianqi was afraid of all day long. In fact, Lin Suizue didn't know that Yin Tianqi had a guilty conscience. Although Yin Luofeng was dead, he had done too many things. He was afraid of being killed by a vengeful spirit. "No matter what, it's a black mark on us. Don't mention it again in the future. Otherwise," Yin Tianqi narrowed his eyes and a cold light flashed in them. If it was a Lin family in the past, Yin Tianqi would be afraid. However, he had his own financial resources now, so he didn't need to be as careful as before. What? Do you still want to deny what you've done? Lin Suitsue sneered. That year, you took away your brother's property and became Yun Luofeng's successor, who was the one who looked down on that girl as a burden. Want to send her away? If I hadn't thought of a way to discredit that girl, Yin Luofeng, do you think your reputation would be so glorious? But now, instead of thanking me, you still want to threaten me. Yin Tianqi was a little angry, but Lin Suitsue's words came at the right time. He didn't know what to say for a moment. Lin Suitsue's tone softened when she saw Yin Tianqi's expression. Don't worry. Yin Luofeng has been dead for 5 years. Even though her corpse was destroyed, there was no way she could have survived such a powerful explosion. In fact, there was another reason why Yin Tianqi was so worried. Yun Luofeng's body had not been found in the explosion at Huaxia University 5 years ago. It was as if she had vanished into thin air, never to be seen again. However, according to the school surveillance, Yin Luofeng had indeed entered the laboratory with a young man. However, their corpses had disappeared. Suitsue, I don't want to hear Yin Luofeng's name again. That girl is a nightmare to me. In the nightmare, the young Xiao Luofeng had hugged his leg, crying and begging him to take him in, but he had kicked him away. Xiao Luofeng's head was bleeding, and he had claimed that he would pay with his life. He had been scared awake by this nightmare many times in the middle of the night. He didn't understand whether it was right or wrong to chase Xiao Luofeng away back then. When Lin Suitsue saw Yin Tianqi's cowardly behavior, she immediately became angry. Let me tell you, Yin Luofeng reaped what he sowed. Don't blame us. If you regret it, you could go to hell to accompany him. Chapter 2165. Yin Tianqi's expression darkened. Just as he was about to say something, he saw that Li Suitsue had already walked out. With a bang, the door was slammed shut. Yin Tianqi's expression turned ugly. He clenched his fists tightly, and the anger in his eyes was obvious. On the bustling streets of Huaxia, everyone's eyes were focused on one spot as they surrounded and pointed at the side. Are those people cosplaying? I think that the woman in white is very beautiful, and the man beside her is also very handsome. He's much more handsome than those movie stars. The two in front of them are their children. They're so cute. If I had such cute children, I would be willing to do anything. Yin Chutian hid beside Yin Luofeng when he heard these people's discussions. There was a trace of panic in his eyes. On the contrary, Yin Yinfeng was looking around with his cute big eyes, his gaze filled with curiosity. Mother, what kind of beasts are those that can run? Why haven't I seen them before? Also, why are the buildings here so tall? Can't they fall down and crush people? Mother, look, a big bird is flying in the sky. Yin Yinfeng's face was filled with excitement as he excitedly pointed at those novel things. His eyes were shining. The people around them looked at Yin Yinfeng with disdain when they heard how inexperienced Yin Yinfeng was. They thought that these people were cosplaying, but it turned out that they were inexperienced. Yin Xiao maintained his silence from beginning to end as he quietly stood by Yin Luofeng's side. His gaze did not even turn as he directly ignored those novelty items. Yin Xiao, I have an apartment here. Let's go to that apartment first. I'll tell you some things when we get there. Yin Luofeng raised her brows slightly. Back then, she had bought an apartment while working part-time. She hadn't lived there until now, before she transmigrated to a different world. Now that she was going back, her first choice was that apartment from back then. Yin Xiao didn't know what an apartment was, but he believed that Yin Luofeng wouldn't make any mistakes in any of her decisions. Hence, he just followed behind her and silently walked forward. Her apartment wasn't in an extremely prosperous area. The neighborhood was very ordinary, so no one stopped Yin Luofeng from entering. Soon, they arrived at the entrance of the apartment. Yin Luofeng looked at the familiar doorway in front of her, and her eyes moved slightly. She gently placed her finger on the doorknob, and her spiritual energy turned into a thread that passed through the keyhole and entered the center of the hole. With a click, the lock was unlocked. Yin Luofeng pushed open the door and walked in. The apartment was small and simply decorated but it was very clean. It didn't look like it had been unoccupied for a few years. It seems like someone has been cleaning this apartment for me all these years. Yin Luo Feng frowned slightly. There is only one person who could help her clean the apartment. As soon as that person appeared in her mind, an old and stern voice came from the door. "Who are you? How did you get in?" The voice was very familiar, so familiar that Yin Luofeng's body stiffened. She slowly turned her head and saw the old man standing at the door. The old man was holding a broom in his hand and the key to the door in his right hand. He was staring angrily at the group of uninvited guests. However, when he saw Yin Luofeng's face, he was stunned. His old eyes could no longer shift away as he stared fixedly at the woman's peerless beauty. Chapter 2166. You, Xiao Feng? The old man's eyes immediately widened as he stared in disbelief at the woman who had appeared in the apartment. He rubbed his eyes fiercely, and when he opened them again, he found the woman standing in the room, smiling sweetly at him. At that moment, the old man's body froze and his eyes reddened uncontrollably. Xiao Feng is already dead. Is it her soul that has returned to see me now? She was dead. Dead in the laboratory. He would never be able to see her again in this lifetime. Teacher. When the woman in the room saw him, her lips moved slightly and she slowly called out. The old man could not help but cry. His eyes were filled with tears. Xiao Feng, your soul has returned to see me. Do you have any last words to tell me? It's already been 5 years. Why have you only returned now? 5 years? Yin Luo Feng frowned slightly. In the 20 years that she had been away, only 5 years had passed in Huaxia. Teacher, I'm back. Yin Luo Feng slowly walked in front of the old man. Her face lit up with a smile. I'm not a soul either. This is the real me. The old man's eyes widened bit by bit. She raised her trembling hand and touched Yin Luofeng's head. That real touch landed on the palm of her hand. At that moment, the old man was like a child as she sobbed. Xiao Feng, you're alive? You're really alive? Where have you been in these 5 years? Why have you only returned now? And you clearly entered the laboratory back then. How did you survive? The old man's series of questions stunned Yin Luo Feng. She looked at the man behind her, and a thoughtful look flashed across her eyes. How was she going to explain this to her teacher? Yin Xiao had already slowly walked to Yin Luofeng's side. His arms hugged the woman tightly. When their eyes met, a gentle smile surfaced in his eyes. Xiao Feng, this is... The old man's gaze gradually turned to Yin Xiao. His eyes were filled with surprise as he asked. He's my man. Yin Luofeng's lips curled as she introduced him proudly. Man? The old man could not take this news and hurriedly leaned against the wall next to him. His student had disappeared for 5 years, and now she even had a man? Teacher, Yin Xiao expressionlessly called out. The fact that he was willing to call the old man this lifetime already proved that he cared about him. However, with Yin Xiao's personality, he would not smile at anyone else. Thus, he maintained his poker face. Mother, mother. Yin Yinfeng and Yun Chutian ran to Yin Luofeng's side, their eyes shining. Mother, is she the teacher you mentioned? Yin Yinfeng tilted his head and asked. As if struck by lightning, the old man was dumbfounded. What? Xiao Feng had a man? Xiao Feng. That's not right. This boy doesn't look like he's only 4 years old. He should be 6 or 7 years old. Thinking of this, the old man looked at Yin Luo Feng suspiciously. Xiao Feng, is this child really your son? You died. Oh, that's not right. You've only been missing for 5 years. The child is at most 4 years old, but this baby should be 6 years old, right? He eats a lot and grows up fast. Yin Yinfeng looked aggrieved. Mother, Feng doesn't eat a lot. He doesn't eat as much as Tianer. Hearing this, Yin Yinfeng's eyes were filled with grievance. Mother, Feng doesn't eat much. He doesn't even eat as much as Tianer. Bang! Yun Xiao punched Yin Yinfeng's head and said expressionlessly, Do you have a problem with your mother's words? Yin Yinfeng had the urge to cry. What sin did he commit? How could he have such a protective father? Mother was lying through her teeth, but father was still helping her. How despicable! But, fearing his father's power, Yin Yinfeng cried. Feng eats a lot and grows up fast. Mother is absolutely right. Chapter 2167. The old man looked at Yun Nianfeng in surprise, but there was still a trace of suspicion in his eyes. Was that really the case? Teacher. Yun Luofeng's expression darkened as she asked, "What happened after I disappeared back then?" The old man froze when he heard this, and a trace of worry appeared in his eyes. But in the end, he shook his head and said, "Don't worry. Nothing happened in these 5 years. I just came to clean your room regularly. Now that you're back, it's considered returning to its rightful owner." In reality, after Yin Luofeng died in the explosion, his body disappeared. So, the old man finally had some hope in his heart. He hoped that his student was still alive. At this moment, the old man's phone rang. He took out his phone from his pocket and looked at the caller ID. When he saw the caller, a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes, and he immediately picked up the call. "Hello." As if the person on the phone said something, the old man handed the phone to Yin Luofeng. "It's for you." "For me?" Yin Luofeng raised her brows slightly. No one should know about her return, so why would they want to find her? However, Yin Luofeng didn't think too much about it and took the phone from the old man. But, just as she put the phone to her ear, an anxious voice came from the phone. "Yin Luofeng, come to Huangpu Hospital quickly. Nangong." Yin Luofeng had already recognized the other party's voice. He froze for a moment before asking, "What happened?" "My grandfather got into a car accident." Yin Luofeng frowned and replied, "Wait for me. I'll be there soon." After that, she hung up and didn't ask how Nangong Yuni knew that she was with her teacher. She turned to look at Yin Xiao and her son. "Yin Xiao, Nianfeng Tian let's go to the hospital." "What's a hospital?" Yin Tian tilted her little head. Her face was like carved jade and very cute. "And mother, what was that lock you were holding? How did you talk to Uncle Nangong?" "I don't have time to explain to you. Saving people is more important." After saying that, she pulled Yun Tian into her arms, and Yun Xiao also hugged Yun Yanfeng. The two of them looked at each other silently and quickly rushed out the door. Their silhouettes were very swift, like a gust of wind. They quickly swept past the old man's eyes. The old man stared blankly in the direction that Yin Luofeng had left, feeling that something was different. At the hospital, outside the emergency room, Nangong Yuni anxiously sat on a chair on the walkway. His face was deathly pale, and his bloodshot eyes stared at the emergency room next to him. His eyes were filled with anxiety. Damn it! If he had studied medicine with Yin Luofeng, he would not have been so helpless. "Don't worry, nothing will happen." Hong Wan patted Nangong Yuni's shoulder. "As long as Fallen Maple comes, there's no patient that she can't save. Even if your grandfather dies, she can pull him out from the depths of hell." Perhaps Hong Wan's words were effective, as Nangong Yuni's expression eased up a little. That was right. As long as Yin Luofeng came, there was no patient she couldn't save. Tisk. At this moment, a sarcastic voice came from the side with a face full of ridicule. "Nangong Yuni, you still have the nerve to say such things? If grandfather didn't think that you were already dead, he wouldn't be so worried and his health condition would deteriorate day by day." Chapter 2168. What's funny is that you didn't die. Instead, you ran off to God knows where and even brought back a wild woman of unknown origin. The one who spoke was a petite girl dressed in a princess dress. She looked like a proud peacock as she spoke with her head held high. Furthermore, if you hadn't appeared today, grandfather wouldn't have gotten into a car accident. Nangong Yuni remained silent as he lowered his head. In this family, the only one who loved him dearly was his grandfather. However, he hadn't returned for so many years, causing his grandfather's health to deteriorate day by day. Grandfather, who had originally been peacefully staying at home, had sneaked out today for some unknown reason and was even hit by a car. Furthermore, he had just returned at this time, so this group of people had pushed the blame onto him. They claimed that it was because of his return that his grandfather had tacitly gone out to look for him, causing him to be hit by a car. In reality, he had only found out that his grandfather had gotten into a car accident after he had returned. "Shut up." Hong Wan's eyes flashed with anger. "What does this have to do with Nangong? Did you not look after the old man and push the blame onto him? It was his fault from the start." The young girl raised her chin and said arrogantly, Nangong Uni, if it wasn't for your mother, that SL*T, who stole my mother's position, do you think you could be the eldest son of the Nangong family? Your mother is just a mistress who breaks up other people's love. Bang! Nangong Uni, who had been sitting on the bench, suddenly stood up. His gaze was terrifying as he stared coldly at the young girl's delicate face. You can insult me, but you're not allowed to insult my mother. His voice was icy cold and carried a hint of ruthlessness. This was the first time Hong Wan had seen Nangong Uni act like this. Did I say anything wrong? Your mother is a mistress. SL*T. The young girl raised her chin fearlessly. In the past, Master Nangong had doted on her, so she couldn't do anything to Nangong Uni. Now that Master Nangong was sick, who in the Nangong family would want her to exist? Nangong Lan. Nangong Uni gritted his teeth as a bloodthirsty light flashed across his eyes. Is the mistress here? After my mother married this man, your mother appeared, and then you were born. Now you're falsely accusing my mother of being a mistress? He didn't even call him father, which showed how much he hated that man. Nangong Lan was frightened by Nangong Uni's ferocious gaze. She retreated a few steps and quickly steadied herself. She coldly snorted and said, So what? Your mother and my father only had a political marriage. Although my mother appeared a step later, they were truly in love. The one who isn't loved in love is the mistress. Hong Wan was stunned. This was the first time she had heard someone say that it was natural for someone to steal someone else's man. She couldn't help but admire this woman's shamelessness. Say that again. Nangong Uni suddenly raised his hand and grabbed Nangong Lan's clothes. His eyes were filled with hatred. I originally didn't want to beat you up outside grandfather's emergency room, but you kept on accusing my mother. If I don't stand up for her, then I don't deserve to be her son. If not for these people, Mommy won't die. He would not become a child of a single-parent family. All these years, he had never told anyone about his family. Even when facing Yin Luo Feng, he didn't mention it at all. This was because mentioning these people made him feel disgusted. Chapter 2169. What do you want? At this moment, Nangong Uni had already grabbed Nangong Lan's neck. His eyes flashed with killing intent. This killing intent was so obvious that even Nangong Lan's body couldn't help but tremble. Slap! But Nangong Uni didn't see the fear in Nangong Lan's eyes, so he fiercely slapped her face. In an instant, her originally lovely and cute face instantly turned red and swollen, and she began to cry. Nangong Uni! Suddenly, an angry shout came from behind. A man and a woman walked over quickly. When they saw Nangong Lan in Nangong Uni's hands, their eyes were filled with anger. What are you doing? The man was wearing a suit. He quickly walked in front of Nangong Uni and shouted, Put your sister down. Sister? Nangong Uni laughed coldly. Back then, no matter how much he disliked the Nangong family, he didn't make things difficult for Nangong Lan. No matter what Nangong Lan said, he pretended not to hear. But ever since he went to the Wuhui mainland, he was influenced by the atmosphere of the mainland. He was no longer as indecisive as before. I don't care who he is. I won't allow him to insult my mother. Bang! Nangong Uni raised his hand and threw Nangong Lan to the ground. Her head hit the wall with a bang. She was in so much pain that she saw stars. Tears kept flowing from her eyes. Xiaolan, the beautiful woman next to the man, cried out and immediately hugged Nangong Lan. Her eyes were filled with tears. Are you okay? Quick, go get the doctor. After the beautiful woman said this, the nurses in the corridor also reacted and quickly left. After a while, a doctor walked over with the nurses. Doctor, quick, check on my daughter. How is she? The beautiful woman's eyes were filled with anxiety. She stared unblinkingly at the young girl in her arms. The young girl's face was slightly pale. Her forehead was dripping with sweat. She bit her lips and stared at Nangong Uni with hatred. She can still glare at people. Looks like she's fine. Hong Wan glanced at Nangong Lan. Her lips curled into a sarcastic smile. Hong Wan's words have thoroughly angered the beautiful woman. She immediately rose to her feet and glared furiously at Hong Wan. Who do you think you are? How dare you point your fingers at our Nangong family's people? A woman from some unknown countryside wants to marry into our Nangong family. As long as I'm alive, I won't let you step through the gates of my Nangong family. The beautiful woman glanced coldly at Hong Wan before turning to look at the man in the suit. Her initial anger immediately turned into grievance. Honey, look at Uni. He wasn't like this in the past. He wouldn't hit Xiaolon. He must have been led astray by this woman. Anger flashed in the man's eyes, and he coldly faced Nangong Uni. Apologize to your little sister and your mother right now. First, my mother is dead. Nangong Uni's tone was very cold. Secondly, it was Nangong Lan who insulted my mother first. As her son, I will not sit idly by. Thirdly, from the beginning to the end, I was the only one teaching Nangong Lan a lesson. What does it have to do with Lan? You actually want her to apologize? Nangong Uni was not the only one who was angry. Even Hong Wan was amused. Looks like the best wasn't just limited to the 7 continents. There were many in China as well. Chapter 2170. Dad, Nangong Lan had already recovered from her dizziness. She bit her lips, and her eyes were filled with tears. It was Nangong Uni who scolded my mother first. He said that my mother was a mistress. I was so angry that I fought back. He only said that I insulted his dead mother, but he didn't mention that he spoke first. Hong Wan was stunned. This was the first time she saw such a situation where black and white were reversed. Her lips unconsciously raised into a smile. Impudent. As expected, the man was enraged when he heard this. He looked at Nangong Uni with an even more furious gaze. When your mother was alive, did she teach you like this? You really have no upbringing. Miyuki is your stepmother, but you insulted her as a mistress. The real mistress should be your mother. If it wasn't for your grandfather telling me to marry her, do you think I would have married her? Nangong Uni clenched his fist bit by bit. He needed to use all of his strength to restrain the urge to punch this man. Miyuki and I only met too late. Otherwise, there would have been nothing between your mother and me. The man glanced at Nangong Uni coldly, then turned to look at Zhao Meishue, who was already sobbing. His tone softened. Miyuki, you don't have to care about these words. It's enough that I know what kind of person you are. Unfortunately, we met too late. Otherwise, even if I had to go against the old man, I would still marry you. This was the first time someone said that cheating was a matter of course. What did it mean to meet too late? A man with a family, but for an affair, he forced his wife to death. In the end, he claimed that love was innocent. Even if they loved each other, they couldn't avoid the fact that the man was already married. The surrounding nurses and doctors also felt disdain in their hearts, but no one dared to say anything. This man wasn't only the CEO of Nangong Group. His father, the old man in the emergency room, was also a founding hero. Even though he was retired now, his connections weren't something others could compare to. For grandfather, I let you go this time. Nangong Uni's expression slowly turned cold. His face was expressionless. If there's a next time, even if you're my father by blood, I won't let you go. He didn't want the old man to worry too much, so he let him go. Otherwise, he would have already made a move. Is this how you talk to your father? The man's expression was cold. It's fine if you don't want to apologize, but this woman, I won't allow her to step into our Nangong family. Nangong Uni smiled. This smile was filled with disdain and mockery. It's not up to you to decide my affairs. You? The man was so angry that he wanted to press down on Nangong Uni's shoulder. However, at this moment, a burst of power seemed to erupt from Nangong Uni's body, directly repelling his hand. Scram! Beep, beep, beep. Just as the man was about to lose his temper, the light in the emergency room went off, and a doctor wearing a mask walked out of the emergency room. Doctor! The man couldn't care less about Nangong Uni. He hurriedly walked over and asked, "How is the old man?" The doctor looked at the man and sighed. The injury is too serious. The patient is still unconscious. If he doesn't wake up by tonight, you should prepare for his funeral. If you don't wake up by tonight, prepare for your funeral. Nangong Uni's body staggered, and he almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, Hong Wan, who was behind him, supported him in time, preventing him from falling. Chapter 2171. Nangong Uni. The man clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were bloodshot as he glared angrily at Nangong Uni. If anything happens to the old man, you'll be the main culprit. I won't let you off. Hong Wan, who was originally filled with worry, was immediately enraged when she heard this. Nangong is already sad enough that Elder Nangong got into a car accident. Now you're pushing the blame to him? Nangong Uni didn't say anything. His tightly clenched fists were already gradually trembling. His eyes couldn't leave the emergency room, and his eyes were a little red. Did I say something wrong? The man snorted. Lon already told me when she called me just now. If you hadn't called the old man wouldn't have rushed to find you, and he wouldn't have gotten into a car accident. Nangong Uni's gaze slowly moved away from the emergency room. He looked at the man coldly. I called the old man. Dad. Nangong Lan climbed up from the ground. Her face was covered in tears. Actually, I'm not too sure if it was brother who called. I only know that after grandfather answered the phone, he excitedly said that brother was back and that he wanted to pick him up. In the end, he ran out. I couldn't stop him no matter what, but he was hit by a car just as he left the house. Maybe it really wasn't brother who called. Nangong Lan frowned slightly. Perhaps she wanted to defend Nangong Uni. However, the meaning of her words was that if it wasn't for Nangong Uni's phone call, the old man wouldn't have gotten into a car accident. Now that he was in a rage, his father definitely wouldn't investigate the real source of the phone call. Moreover, so what if he found out in the end? She didn't explicitly say that it was Nangong Uni who called. Couldn't it just be a misunderstanding? Bang! The man angrily threw a punch at Nangong Uni. However, before it could land on Nangong Uni's head, Hong Wan raised her hand to block it. Her eyes flashed with anger, and her lips curled into a cold smile. I've never seen a father like you. Boom! After saying this, she kicked the man's chest. In an instant, the man, who was over 8 meters tall, was sent flying by her kick. Hubby, Daddy, Nangong Lan and Zhao Meishue turned pale with fright and quickly ran in front of the man. When they saw the man lying on the ground, unable to move at all, they stared at Hong Wan angrily. Call the police and arrest the woman who hurt people. Let's see who dares. Nangong Uni pulled Hong Wan behind him to protect her. His eyes were still filled with uncontrollable sorrow, and his voice was cold and detached. I don't want to fight with you here. Otherwise, today, all of you will be lying on the ground and unable to get up. The emergency room's lights had already been turned off, and 2 guards pushed a stretcher out. Seeing the old man lying on the stretcher, Nangong Uni's eyes reddened as he slowly walked to the side of the stretcher. Grandpa, I'm back. Unfortunately, he came back too late. This is a hospital. If you want to fight, go fight outside. Don't cause trouble here. The doctor looked at the group of people in front of him expressionlessly and said in a routine manner. As expected, the doctor's words were quite effective. The man stood up with the help of his wife and daughter. His eyes were filled with anger as he coldly glared at Nangong Uni, but he didn't say anything. In any case, Miyuki had already called the police. The police would deal with the matter of the injury. Chapter 2172. Luo Feng. Suddenly, Hong Wan heard footsteps behind her. She immediately turned around, and after seeing that familiar face, joy flashed across her face. You're finally here? Perhaps it was Hong Wan's words that finally made Nangong Uni return to his senses. He fiercely grabbed onto Yun Luo Feng's clothes. That expression, it was as if he was grabbing onto his last life-saving straw. Yun Luo Feng, hurry and save my grandfather. Only you can save him. Nangong Lan sneered at the side. Didn't you hear what the doctor said? If grandfather can't make it through tonight, he's already beyond saving. And you actually want this woman to save grandfather? Do you think she's the reincarnation of Huata? If it was in the past, Nangong Uni would have already made a move, but right now, letting Yun Luo Feng save grandfather was the most important. So, he directly ignored Nangong Lan's words and looked at Yun Luo Feng with a pleading gaze. Okay. Yun Luo Feng muttered to himself for a moment, then nodded slightly. I need a quiet place, and I don't allow anyone to disturb me. Nangong Yun's heart was filled with joy. He was very confident in Yun Luo Feng's strength. Even if you die, this woman can pull you out of Hell King Hall. Miss, this is the hospital. Seeing Yun Luo Feng push the bed frame, the doctor lightly frowned and blocked her path. So, I hope you don't disturb the patient. Moo. Yun Luo Feng's voice was cold, making the doctor's entire body tremble. He never thought that a person could be this cold. The doctor thought of grandfather's identity and gritted his teeth. I can't let you do anything that would harm the patient. Yin Xiao. Yin Luo Feng saw that grandfather's condition wasn't very good and couldn't be bothered to say one more word to these stubborn doctors, so he directly called out. Just as this doctor was about to continue speaking, a black shadow already appeared in front of him, grabbed his clothes, and like an eagle dragging a chick, dragged him to the side. Everyone was stunned. Were the people that came today a bunch of perverts? That woman in red first sent Chairman Nangong flying with a kick, and now this man easily lifted up a strong and sturdy doctor. Even those weightlifters, perhaps they didn't even have this much strength. While everyone was still in shock, Yin Luo Feng had already pushed grandfather's bed frame into the emergency room. Cough, cough. Only then did the man come to his senses. He coughed twice and shouted at the doctors and nurses with an angry expression. What are you guys doing here? How could you let someone who doesn't even have a medical license go and save people? If something happens to the old man, who will bear the responsibility? From the beginning, Hong Wan had been paying attention to their expressions. The man was really worried about the old man. After all, he was his biological father. How could he not care? But, however, Zhao Meishue and Nangong Lan were not sad at all. Instead, when they heard that the old master might not be able to make it, a hint of joy flashed across their eyes. That's right, it was indeed joy. Hong Wan fell into deep thought. It seemed like she needed to get Nangong to investigate the old master's car accident. At this moment, a group of uniformed policemen rushed in and said sternly, "Who called the police just now?" "It's me." Zhao Meishue bit her lips tightly and said. Only then did the police see the man and Zhao Meishue. "Mr. Nangong, madam, why are you here?"